life. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm pretty much content with just rhyming all day.
Or Digital can instantly share pictures.
I can start.
Hello. I am sorry, but I must interrupt this show. You know what it is? Hey, Ham, it's time, baby. Low, let's turn out we do. Hey. They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said we strong. They said we said we go. We say that you heard right. 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 They said we said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said strong. They said we said go. We say that you heard right. 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 Man, I swear that it's imminent. I've been going so hard on my penmanship. About to go in and buy me a wheel. And I pull that shit fresh off the dealership. I can leave you on red like an Xbox. Got me laughing at you like you Red Fox. Got you chasing Hot Wheels like a matchbox. EA running the game and it don't stop. Super cold like I'm playing for Blitz. Cut you all in my sights like Red Dead Redemption. Never gonna slip on my pimpin'. Better get out my way, bitch, I'm on a mission. Really ain't no competition. I'm steady grilling opposition. I'm get up and ready to win. They can play it how they play, but fuck what you say. I'm getting this money today. Last of us like a dying breed. Down the ride like a noble steed. Fatality moves, I make it bleed. That's on any game, that's on any screen. Shut up and give me your money. They said we so lit. Even if I take an L, we coming back just to show that we don't quit. They said we hit. They said we said we on. They said we said strong. They said we said go.
Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another installment of Everything Plus Gaming on TSWS Gaming. I'm Loke7, and joining me, as always, Mr. Tai Talks. Tai, how are you, and what have you been playing?
I'm good. I've been playing. So I got something in my throat. Hold on one sec.
Try swallowing. Hey, Vincent Vega, welcome in, bruv. Good evening. Welcome in, Vince. Vince, what you been playing? I'm curious. As for me, I've been playing South of Midnight, as you can see up on the screen. I've actually finished it, and I'm looking forward to rebuying this on Steam and playing it again on Steam. I'm I can't wait to do it.
Isn't this
Yeah,
Sweet Baby Ink game?
yeah, it's a Sweet Baby Inc. game, and my goodness,
Wow.
it's a banger.
I thought
It's
they
a
only make
banger.
I thought they only make crap games and make things woke and terrible and stuff.
Listen, there's a place for woke. Honestly, there is a place for woke. There's a place for it. Hey, Cozy, welcome in. Says I'm wrong. I'm playing hooky. I don't know what hooky is. I have no idea what that is. Too big. Mahalo. Welcome in. Welcome in. Y'all make sure to smash the like button. Vince says AC Unity on the Series X and Pokemon Crystal on GBC. Nice. Nice. What's GBC? Oh, Game Boy Color. I think that's Game Boy Color. Not going to work. What's not going to work, Cozy? Yeah, but yeah, I was saying I was playing South of Midnight. I finished it. I'm looking forward to rebuying it on Steam, replaying it on Steam. On Steam, I'll probably 100% it. There's one thing that I'm continuously frustrated with on Xbox. That obviously it's a complaint that we can extend to. Oh, okay, playing hooky. All right, sure. Cool. If anyone wants to explain to me in the chat what hooky is, I'd appreciate. Oh, hooky means not going to work or school. Right. Yeah, I've been playing hooky. Uh that's what I've been doing. Vincent's 6 hour game made by DEI. No thanks. Hey man, different strokes for different folks. For me, this one's hitting very hard. Anyways, as I was saying, I finished the game. I'm looking forward to buying it again. I already have it on Xbox. I'm gonna buy it again on Steam. Beat it, maybe 100% it on Steam. It's legit my game of the year so far. Obviously, it's a ceremonial title, right? Doom is probably going to take its place. I don't know if there's anything better. Oh yeah, Death Stranding might have a fight with Doom there. We'll see. But for now, in this instance, on the 7th of April, 2025, this is my game of the year. It's fucking awesome. I love it. I love the combat. I love the story. I love the pacing. I love the sound design. The 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 narrative is something a lot of people have focused on, trying to downplay the gameplay. But it's such an L. It is that take is so bad. You either didn't play it or you didn't pass like the first 3 or 4 chapters where you get the majority of her abilities. For me, the fighting's awesome. The platforming is it's pretty good. And all this talk about repetitive gameplay, no repetitive gameplay, you can shut the fuck up with all that bullshit. Because if you play Elden Ring, my friend, you're doing almost the same things right up until the end. The only thing that changes is who you're doing it to, just like South of Midnight. The platforming is the same from start to finish, but it's in different places. Do, do you swing a sword in Elden Ring at the beginning and then swing it a different way by the end? Or maybe you don't swing a sword by the end of Elden Ring. Maybe by the end you're shooting swords. I don't know, uh, dude. Tetris from start to finish is connecting blocks one to the other. WRC is driving a vehicle from the start point to the end point. Gran Turismo, Forza Motorsport. Don't come to me and talk about repetition in South of Midnight. Find another argument. Oshis, I hope you brought your A game to shit on South of Midnight. I really do. Because what I've been seeing online, I'm disappointed. I am disappointed by the haters online. Oshis, welcome in. How are you? And what have you been playing?
Good man. No complaints. So how's my sound? First of all, I'm using different headsets. Can you guys hear me?
It's
You sound
serviceable.
terrible as usual. You sound terrible as usual.
Thank you. Okay, cool. If it's serviceable, I'll change back to something a little better a little bit later. What have I been playing? So yeah, I've just been trying out The Witcher 3 on PC with the different settings. Aside from that, not much. I've not had time to get to anything else.
All right. All right. Vince, because he says she can't hear you. Vince says Tetris takes skill. Pressing A plus forward is sure challenging. Vince, you haven't played the game. You legit, clearly, my guy, my brother from another mother. Play the game. Like, okay, if I get you a code, Vince, will you play it? Cause I'll get you a fucking code. I'm not saying I have any ins with Xbox or I have friends that can send me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, Vince, if I get you a code, will you roll credits on this motherfucker? Because if you will roll credits, I would like to talk to you. This game is not press forward and press A. That's not what it is. Anyways, Usher still hasn't played it because he won't pay for the premium. Vince says everybody's time to hate. I have ultimate hate. All right. You know what? You're allowed to hate. You're allowed to hate. Um, Ushers, any thoughts on what I said about my experience with South of Midnight now that I finished it?
Not really. I
All
think
right, Ty, any thoughts on my musings on South of Midnight, or you're good?
I'm glad you enjoyed it. So that's good. I've been seeing the points online as well. And it seems everyone seems to have just one specific issue. So the story seems to be on point. The music is on point. The artistry of this game is special. Like it's great. And I think Hazel will go down as one of the Microsoft like mascots, right? There'll be a certain group of a community that will like her and enjoy her the same way that they did for Bayonetta. Um, However, I've seen enough feedback to see, and this is something I actually said before the game came out, that the gameplay didn't look all that. They look amazing, and you're saying the gameplay is actually good. From what I've seen, it looks okay to serviceable. And Compulsion strikes me as a team that are amazing when it comes to creating art. You think about the previous games like We Happy Few, and how the concept of that game was great, but the gameplay, the execution wasn't there. It was quite poor. This game seems like a step up. However, I question why the gameplay wasn't improved. I question why people are having some thoughts. The real question is, why isn't this game a 10 out of 10 across the board? Maybe for you, yes, but across the board, why can't we look back at this game and say this is one of Xbox's best games ever released universally? Because it seems like from a story and arts perspective, people can say that, but from a gameplay perspective, that doesn't seem to be the case. I put this blame, and this is obviously me without playing the game, just from what I'm seeing. I put this blame on not Compulsion, but the guys at Xbox, because this is something that they should have addressed. Um, they should have seen what these guys are working at and said, "We can make you better. This is not about you making Xbox better, but it's about us making you into a better team and addressing like some of your shortcomings." And I don't think we got that here. Because I guess the question would be, what do you think Matt or whoever who was overseeing this game did? What did they bring to the table to make this a better game? Because this game looks to me like this was Compulsion just being given a bigger budget.
Is that a problem? I don't understand what the issue is here.
It's a problem when there's a team that you've identified has some weaknesses. So that's when you have to manage and step in and say, no, you need to do this. You need to hire this person instead to help you with X,
Ah,
Y, Z.
okay. Have you played the game, Ty?
I haven't played the game, unfortunately. That's
Yeah.
the
What I will say is that the combat, after you play it, we can discuss it, because I feel like a lot of people just decided they hated this game because of the protagonists and all the other politics involved with it,
Mhm.
which again is a fair position to start off from, right? But I feel like anyone that plays the game and gives it an actual try, I think that opinion will change. Because when I went in, the first few combat encounters, I was also underwhelmed. Not gonna lie, I was also underwhelmed. But by the third chapter, after I'd gotten like the abilities and whatever, ah man, that was for me at least. Then I couldn't stop playing it.
Is it
I
a
even
case where the abilities you get them halfway through the game and then you stop kind of
Not
progressing?
halfway, not halfway. You get it in the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first three chapters, which are the shortest chapters.
So I guess the question would be from a gameplay perspective, and we're not talking artistry, we're talking about just gameplay. Would it
Yeah.
not have been better if you kept on improving and improving as the chapters went on with new abilities to keep that gameplay element interesting?
Uh,
Because to me, that just seems like bad design. It seems like somebody just wasn't doing the job properly. Like if I'm playing,
that's not a terrible idea.
if
Yeah,
I'm
because you get
playing,
everything. You get everything. Like by the third chapter, you have all the powers.
yeah, and straight away I was thinking, well, why would that be the case? Like because you need to keep the interest for people who like the gameplay elements of things, right? I'll give you an example of something. Yeah, so when Guerrilla Games was going from making Killzone to
Your microphone is muffled.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
You can hear
Um,
you.
when Guerrilla Games was going for making Killzone to Horizon, which is going to be a huge project. These are the guys that are, primarily for the last couple of years been primarily working on shooting games, first person shooter games. What they did is they knew they had shortcomings, so they hired this guy called John Gonzalez, who worked on Fallout New Vegas, because they were like, yeah, we need somebody to write a story for an RPG game. So this is your job. And there was elements when John Gonzalez was going back and forth with the creator, and John Gonzalez won in some elements because he's just telling him like, "Yo, I am the guy who's going to make the story like perfect or whatever it is," right? So that's
Hmm.
him cementing his position there. And Gorilla knew they're like, "Yeah, this is who we've got." They also had a guy called Ben McCaw who worked on the previous Prince of Persia games. Now he was always with Gorilla, but he got promoted obviously when Horizon because they needed to focus more on story. And then if you also look it up, apparently like Gorilla went to go get senior world designers and etc. Like a lot of people from who worked on open world games to make Horizon Zero Dawn what it is. So I almost want to question Xbox and say, well, we already kind of knew Compulsion had the talent to make a game like this, and they've obviously got specialists and people to inform them about Southern culture. But who did you get? Who did you hire to make sure the gameplay part made sense? Well, or who did Xbox say, yeah, listen, we played this and it's fun, it's cool, but from a gameplay perspective, it could be better. Like we actually
Yeah,
want to
it
give
could
it a full
definitely be
10 out of 10.
tighter.
Yeah, so my
There's no
question is,
doubt it
why
could
is it
be
this a 10
tighter
out of 10 game?
in terms
Why
of
isn't this a
gameplay.
9 out of 10 game? Like,
9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 game, because everyone is
In
telling me
in
the same
terms of
thing.
gameplay,
They're telling me the music is amazing. They're telling me
Tai,
the story is great.
Tai,
What's up?
and this is going to piss off a lot of people, but it needs to be said. Uh, there's space in video games for 10 out of 10 games in both the creative side and the gameplay side, like the video side and the game side, because they're called video games, right? There's space for your Metal Gears that are 10 out of 10 in both departments. There's space for games like Elden Ring, which are 10 out of 10 in both departments. But there's also space for games like Mario, which are 5 out of 10 on one side, but 10 out of 10, some would say 15 out of 10 on the other side. Because we all strive for perfection, right? But we're not going to sit here and diminish awesome work. It's like saying Cristiano Ronaldo scored 3 goals today, but he missed 7 other chances. So is he really great? Like Mario Kart does not have the best graphics in the world. Are we going to sit here and say why? Why doesn't Mario Kart look like Metal Gear Solid 4? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
I get what you're
Monster
saying,
Hunter
but there's a
Wilds,
difference.
Monster Hunter Wilds has an awesome gameplay loop. No one fucking knows what that story is about. There's no one getting emotional about the soundtrack in Monster Hunter World. There's no one losing their minds about the narrative in Monster Hunter World. Every game that you can name, oh well, not every game, but most games that come out, 99% of games that come out will be weak in certain areas. Now, if every game needs to be Metal Gear Solid, if every game needs to be the greatest game that ever came out and is flawless, that's another discussion.
The two games you mentioned there was Mario and
Metal Gear.
not Medical. You mentioned something else, but we could use Mario for example. Mario tells you exactly what it is. It's a fun game, which its core mechanic is the gameplay. And if your gameplay is excellent, no one can care about the story. However, if your gameplay is trash or average and your story is good, you're kind of in this weird mix. Because at the end of the day, or what the only thing that really matters is the actual gameplay. Gameplay is the core mechanic you need to get right. There's no a Mario game could be 10 out of 10 gameplay and 0 out of 10 story. It will still be game of the year because it's amazing. You're having fun, you're having a great time. But there's no game that's a 10 out of 10 story and 0 out of 10 gameplay. That's trash. No one cares. Go watch a movie.
It's not 0 out of 10.
No, I'm not saying 0 out of 10, but I'm saying that I'm just giving you extreme examples that a 0 out of 10 story
And what I'm
Mario game
saying,
would be
no, 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 you can't
excellent.
bring up an extreme example for something that we're discussing currently. Uh, South of Midnight is not 0 out of 10.
It's not 0 out of 10. I know I said it was 0 out of
It's not
10.
even 5 out of 10.
It's not 5 out of 10. No. Who would say that?
So, so what are we talking about here?
So the point here is that if this game wanted to be in the greats, like let's say a Elden Ring, like you said, or even like Game of the Year Mario, where I mean universal praise. I'm not just talking
Why are
about
you
like
ignoring
studios.
Metal Gear? I mentioned Metal Gear
Is Metal Gear
a
gameplay
thousand times.
is Metal Gear gameplay average? Is it
It's beyond
inconsistent?
average. It's one of the best of all time.
Okay, so Metal Gear great gameplay. Is the story good? I haven't played it. I can't comment.
I won't even. I won't dignify that with an answer.
Which
All
Metal
right.
Gear?
We're now wasting too much time.
Yeah,
We're now
but you see,
wasting
the,
too
the, the
much
core
time
of the core of what I'm just trying to
on
say
this
is
dark
like
alley.
I haven't played the game, right, and I could probably play the game and enjoy the game. But I look at Metacritic and I look at a lot of reviewers, and I think it's sad where everyone says this is a game that's been in development for like probably 4 to 5 years, and everybody knows compulsion is great when it comes to concepts. And the question you need to ask is why wasn't the gameplay made better? Why didn't someone like Matt Booty step in and say, "Hey, we're gonna hire these guys to help you guys out here"? Because when this game comes out, there's no question to be asked that this is a 10 out of 10 project for everybody who touches it. And I don't think that's the case right here. And I would say this, and maybe Nate might agree, because I think he touched on some similar. When you play Hellblade 2, you can see how the artistry interfered with the gameplay. They wanted a cinematic fight, right? So they used one
They wanted to
person
watch a
at a
movie.
time. They wanted, specific kind of combat, so they got rid of the kick, and they did all these things to make sure it was a cinematic fighting experience. Now, I don't think that's great. I think there was a mistake there, but you can tell that, like, okay, the artistry is interfering the gameplay here, and they're trying to convey something. When I look at South of Midnight's gameplay, what is the artistry that's interfered in lowering the quality of the gameplay?
I don't think the artistry interfered with the gameplay, and this takes me right back to Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima did nothing new. They took old concepts, they applied them, they polished it up, and it became an awesome, and it was received as an awesome game.
Look, to your point you just said there, you said you don't think the artistry did anything to like inhibit the gameplay of South of Midnight. That's fine. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Then my next question is, then why do people think it's average? Why do people think it's inconsistent? Why is it that everyone says the best part is the story
Can
and
I answer your
the
question?
artistry, but the gameplay is just like meh? And why is it
I'll
that
be
when you're playing the
briefer.
game,
I'll be briefer and more honest than Oshas, because Oshas is chomping at the bit to shit on this game.
okay, I'll just
But
finish up. I'll finish the last
I'll
point there, which
I'll
is,
respond as to why, Tai. Because
but
people like different things. All right. There's a lot of people we forget, but there's a lot of people that were triggered and took a big fat steaming dump on Elden Ring. Fucking Quantum TV lost his channel, got divorced. There was a situation with like police because of Elden Ring. People just have their own opinions, and that's the beautiful thing about gaming and most media. We can all see the same thing, but come away with very different conclusions. That's all it is. For me, I'm comfortable with seeing that type of reaction because I'm the guy that used to that loved still loves Football Manager right now when most people don't even consider it a game. I'm the guy who was in high school talking about Metal Gear, and people were like, "The hell is that? That's not a real game." And I was fine with it. My life went on. I still went and played some more Metal Gear. We need to get more comfortable with people not liking the things we like and just keeping it pushing.
But that's not
It's
what Tay
not
is
the end of the
asking though.
world. He's asking me why other people don't like it. They like it. Sorry, they don't like it because they don't like it. I like it
No,
because I do, and I come up with my reasons. Their reasons, for me at least, don't match up. They're talking about gameplay is repetitive. Every video, the basis of games is repetition. Every game, whether it's chess, Tetris, every game in existence, the basis of all of them is repetition. They're talking about the combat is not deep, it's boring. For me, it is deep. For me, it's not boring. I don't mind that I got all the abilities right at the beginning. I got to experiment a whole bunch before the game finished. So I'm good with it. Go ahead, Oshis. Tell me why I'm wrong.
No, I'm not going to tell you why you're wrong, but I'm saying that I don't think you understand Ty's question the same way I understand it. Ty is basically asking, why is it that, for instance, a Microsoft game cannot go from being good to being great? And like, he's got a very good basis for this question, because if you look at like all the games that were released this generation, how many Microsoft games have gotten that push where, the push that we all expected, that this studio can make 7 out of 10 games? At best, they can do an 8 out of 10 games when they really, really, really are firing on all cylinders. But with the support of a studio and the resources of Microsoft, they should then now be able to do 10 out of 10 games, because of the fact that not only do they have the resources now to, bring their vision to life, but now they've also got other experts that can look into this and say, you know what, we're good with gameplay. We're very, very good at this part, or we can hook you up with these guys. We can
You
hook you
you
up with
know why
Psychonauts.
that'll never work. You know why
But
that
like,
that,
can I
that,
let me
that
just
type of
finish this point? Let
thinking.
me finish the thought,
All right.
and then yeah. So they could then hook up, like for instance, the site of the Midnight guys with the guys that make Psychonauts, and say, can you give some input into getting this game to being 10 out of 10 in the gameplay department? But what that implies is that you have some sort of consistency and quality control within the company that has an overview, which is what someone like Matt Booty is supposed to be doing. And the example for this is, referring back to what Ty is saying, is that a lot of the companies that Sony either bought or partnered with, they went from making, say, 8 out of 10 games to making 10 out of 10 games almost consistently. And then if you look at the pros, even like third party companies that Sony partners with, they have a 7 out of 10 game. Sony will make sure that they bring their guys in to turn it into a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, or worst case scenario, an 8 out of 10 game. So, my point being, most of the time, in those comparisons or in those situations, Sony, I'll use Sony because it's the most closest comparison to Microsoft. Most of the time, it's almost like they have teams who just like they've got someone like you who just specializes in coming in and looking, what is it that we need to do for you to be able to empower you to get you to that next level, and it almost always works. Now, of course, if we're talking about contemporary situations like Concord, where almost everything failed, I think that's a unique situation. But I think with Sony, and with Nintendo to a large extent, they've mastered the ability to do that. Take immature teams, sort of give them the push that they need. So by the time they make their next game, they know how to do that. That
Yeah,
that's that,
no,
that
I
yeah,
would
no.
say, I would say
That's
just like what
exactly
Cozy says
that's
here.
exactly
Cozy
what I
says
was
that's
saying.
not how it works. And what I'm trying to say is that's not how it works, Oshis. Just because you have more money doesn't mean it's going to work out. You can go and talk to Manchester City when they first got their Abu Dhabi billions. You could go and talk to PSG that 10 years later still hasn't won a Champions League. Talk to Real Madrid when they started spending ridiculous amounts of monies in the 2000s and they couldn't get the dub. Having the money, right? And let me bring it to video games, Oshas. The Roach King. The Roach King has got no production value. Like this guy, he's in an attic filled with roaches. You know what he does have? He has talent, and you can't buy talent. You just have to have it, and then either hire people with talent, or or just gravitate towards it or attract them. Microsoft's issue, and we talked about this last year, their issue with their contract situation where everyone's a contract, everyone's always on like a rolling annual contract, even in gaming, which is ridiculous, right? For me, that's the main problem that keeps a lot of people that are very good at what they do away from Microsoft, because they offer almost no security, and the people are treated like discardable assets, and that doesn't work when it comes to creative creative, like anything to do with creativity. You need to have a situation where the people are left to just think about the creative side and not every month that goes by, fuck, I have 6 months to go, I have 7 months to go, I need to justify my next 12 months. That's it. That usually does not lead to good production, whether it's creative or even just normal admin stuff. That type of
But
pressure
then,
doesn't lead to good products. It leads to people who will do what they can for work, but then on the other side, they put their real effort on trying to figure out something more permanent.
you just answered our question that like they don't invest enough in their stuff to get them to the level that they need to be able to produce the kind of quality that their contemporaries can produce. So this is not again an insolvable problem or an inherent issue. This is a problem created by Microsoft and their philosophy in terms of how they hire and how they decide to approach game development.
So because of that, we're not going to play and appreciate South of Midnight.
No, that's
I
a
just
strong.
think it looks bland
Um,
personally. It just there's
oh
nothing interesting
Like
about
I'm
it for
trying to
me.
understand the goal of this here. Like, what's
no,
the
no, no.
goal?
I'll tell you what I was saying here is that the same way how last year I was looking at Xbox thinking, why is Stalker 2 broken or
Ushers,
why is Flight
Ushers, look at the
Simulator
screen.
broken?
Ushers, look at the screen. Sorry, Ty, go ahead.
Mhm.
Keep telling us. Continue. Tell us what you're saying.
I
Ty, go
mean,
ahead.
Yeah, so Asha, you can answer that, I suppose.
what the screen?
Yeah, but I
But
think
like again,
it's
this
missing the
is
mark.
picking
It's actually missing the mark because, like, I gave an
exactly.
example of Guerrilla Games hiring the
Yes.
right person for the open world for Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn sold 20 million copies. What are we
So
Okay,
talking
so
about?
so
the
you guys
game.
can pick. You guys can pick the PlayStation games that popped. If anyone shows the PlayStation games that didn't pop, that doesn't count.
Okay, but
Let me
okay,
get
Wait,
Ty,
the
wait,
with
number
the
rules
one,
right
no,
here.
but like
none of
the
those
same
games were
philosophy.
PlayStation first party studios. That's number
Yes,
one.
but
Number
besides
two,
that,
Ty, Ty,
top part
Ty,
is
in your
consistency.
in your previous rant, at no point did you say, was it Ty or Oshus, one of you two? At no point
yeah.
did any of you two say that PlayStation improves first and third party games from sevens to eights, eights to
No,
nines,
that I
nines
said
to
that.
tens.
Yes, I said that. But like my point is, if you look
Oh,
at like if
okay,
we look at it, no,
okay.
no, but like we can't just use examples without putting context to say, all right, cool. So how many? If we had to compare those games, or we had to compare instances where Microsoft was able to achieve success that way versus Sony, it will be night and day in terms of comparison. Not
Okay,
like
so
eight,
let's
7 out of
let's do
10
the
times when
comparison.
Sony supports a game.
Cautious, cautious,
Yeah.
because right now, right now we're getting into the statistical and specific. We're going since you and Ty care so much about this specific angle. I'm tasking you guys with coming up with the list because for me,
Okay.
uh, I feel like there's an equal amount of duds
Easy
on
list
both
to make.
sides. There's an
Easier.
equal amount of duds on both sides, and if this is so important, tomorrow we have a show. Y'all can come here and present your list to show that yes, games on PlayStation, right? First and third party are better than games on Xbox.
Yeah.
Games on Xbox suck. And
Mm.
then you can have your round on the Olympic field, waving your flag. Xbox sucks. And then I'd like to just discuss South of Midnight, fellas. Like, and this is why I keep bringing it back to, okay, with all this being said, what are we supposed to do with South of Midnight? Is this now trash? Because you know what, Microsoft has such a bad track record. This game came out, the gameplay is not a 10 out of 10. At best, it's an 8 out of 10. The creative side, right? The video side of it is a 10 out of 10. What are we supposed to do with this? Ty, what are we supposed to do with South of Midnight?
Well, I don't understand the question. My question initially was, even going back to the past, was I was wondering why is it that Flight Simulator from last year released in a kind of broken state? Why is it that even the Forza game, which I thought was for some reason was going to be a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, everyone was saying
Yes.
nope, it didn't release properly. Why is it that Stalker 2 eventually released a little bit iffy? I'm just wondering, like, why is there a problem with consistency? And then with South of
Exactly.
Midnight, what I'm looking at is like if you look at a game like Starfield, it's clear that you can't just improve that straight away. Like it's very, like there's a lot of things there that needs to be taken care of. I look at this game like South of Midnight, and I'm thinking, so okay, the art's perfect, the music is perfect, apparently the story is
Right.
perfect, everything is perfect. The only thing that's not perfect is the gameplay. I'm like, well, is that like a hard fix? Well, not really. Just bring the right people in. Wait, wasn't
Mm.
this game being developed for like 5 years straight? Why isn't the gameplay a 10 out of 10? Why isn't this game going down as one of the best games for like Xbox ever? Like, why isn't this game gonna be like going toe to toe
Yeah.
with the God of Wars or the Horizons? And it's not because just the gameplay just didn't match everyone's expectations. They felt it was okay. And I'm just thinking that could have been an easy fix. You could have had an amazing win here, and you could have ported this game to the
Yeah.
Switch 2 and ported it to the to PlayStation, and it would have been like something. It would have been something special. I just feel like to to make a game like this that is so creative and so different that you could have done something so much more with it. If this game got delayed and they address the problems, there you go. You probably have your 10 out of 10 game. Xbox has another kind of hi-fi rush kind of game on their books, but they don't because the gameplay isn't there. And
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 like,
my question is, why isn't the gameplay there? And we know this because listen, the initiative, not the initiative, the one they created. Oh crap, what's the name again? The Xbox studio that they created that's working with Crystal. Um,
it's the initiative.
The initiative, is it? Yeah,
Yeah, they're working with
the
Crystal
initiative.
Dynamics on
Yeah,
Perfect
we
Dark.
like if we look at all the reports with that game, it was Crystal Dynamics that was primarily working that game
Yeah,
because
it
they had
wasn't
the
Microsoft.
expertise. The initiative didn't have the expertise. They needed somebody who had that kind of ground set, and they have the expertise with Tomb Raider games. So they were like, okay, we know how to make open world games where you can do different things and tackle different enemies with this way because we make open world games. Edios Montreal is helping out with Fable because they have experience with RPG games, Deus Ex. So it makes sense to have those kind of guys there. So you can hire the right people to come and help. And I'm just wondering who was helping Compulsion? Because it seems like it was no one because the gameplay just looked
There's no
garbage
one.
to me. I
Like,
literally said like this game looks great, but why is the gameplay and why is the platforming look so like iffy? And I think
and
that's just my question. Why is it iffy?
like Phil has said in the past, like when they, for some reason, for certain games, when they need to, like for instance, for what's this game for Starfield with the shooting, didn't they say that they brought in guys from ID Software to perfect that and make sure it was where it needed to be? In fact, initial reviews, because there was initial version of the game that was like some people gave impression of like some of the guys that work on the game, and then they, one of the things that they said that was not finished or not ready that needed work was the gunplay. They brought in the guys from ID, and in my opinion, that is one of the best parts of that game. That's one of the most polished parts of that game because they brought in somebody that just does that especially. Another example is EA with Mass Effect Andromeda with the Mako, where it's an area of expertise where it's not BioWare's forte, and as a result, in the original Mass Effect game, they had issues with like that driving mechanic with that with the Mako, and then they brought in guys from the Need for Speed old black box team to help develop a driving mechanic that worked well. And one of the best parts of Andromeda was the driving parts because of how well that Mako handled. And again, going back to your point, Tai, about this consistency and the support from the greater team, is I'm just like wondering where, like, for instance, if I look at all the releases that we've had since the Series X S generation, let me say after 2002 or after 2022, there's just been a lack, or there has been a huge drop off in terms of the sort of like quality at release of the games. Like for instance, one of my most hyped games, going back to your point, was Forza Motorsport. Like they've made exceptional, every game that they've done, like when it comes to the Motorsport series, has always been an 8.5 and up. And for some reason with this game, which was supposed to be the game changer, it was supposed to be the next level of racing games, it came and it went, and all it ended up being was a game that needed to be patched and fixed 6 months later so that it could just get to that level. Whereas before, it was even better. It's almost like it felt there was like there's a form of neglect of like, well, it's good enough, put it out there. So whoever's giving Microsoft advice is probably
Like,
someone tired that.
I mean, remember they
you're a
said it.
bunch of haters.
No,
Y'all a
but
bunch of
hold on.
haters.
Remember that they said it like
Beginner
in
brings
the
up a very
interview.
good point that I cannot help myself but to agree. Says, I love the new God of War games and The Last of Us, but the gameplay in them is so clunky. They seem to get a pass and praise for what they do well, whereas Xbox games get picked apart for what they don't do. Again, like this, this is it. This is the entire conversation. I've been on the Wise Old Gamers podcast that's filled to the brim with PlayStation fans, and even they admit the first God of War, all they did was change the perspective, did nothing new. The strong point of the game was the story. The gameplay was mid. The second God of War actually did nothing new as well. The third part, the third act, dragged on too long. This is criticism of people that play the God of War games. I won't even get to into Spider-Man 2, right? Spider-Man 1, good game. The Last of Us, come on. There's ain't nobody capping about the gameplay in The Last of Us. The biggest fans will tell you about textures and Ellie and sexuality and all this other stuff in the story. But that's okay because it's PlayStation. I'm tired of saying Ghost of Tsushima did nothing wrong, did nothing new. They just polished a system that's been like in the gaming industry for years. But that's fine because it's PlayStation. It's a white protagonist. Now we have a female protagonist that's black. Gameplay does nothing new, is definitely not worse than whatever it is going on in the other games. The story is tight. From my point of view, the real issue here, the real issue is that this character does not speak to a lot of people. Because if we're going to focus on just, all right, let's look at these so-called bangers, right? The only ones making purely amazing gameplay is Nintendo. Because they don't even have a leg to stand on when it comes to graphics. Daireezy, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. PSR, copy and paste, all the same. That's quality. If it looks nice, I guess. If it looks nice enough, it's fine. Lawrence Davenport, welcome in, says, I'm halfway through and I'm loving it, but I've lived in the South and loved seeing our people being represented truthfully. Thank you for being a subscriber, Lawrence Davenport. And Nate, no one is giving them a pass. You just consider them clunky. There's nothing clunky about the gameplay in either of those games. It's just your opinion. All right. And Nate says this is the issue. People use terms like clunky for gameplay style they don't like instead of just stating that gameplay style isn't for them, which is fine. We need to reserve clunky for them. That's also fair. Big Mad Mo, welcome in. Big Mad Mo says platforming is fine as well. Hey, you MF talking about a game, play the motherfucker. It's in Game Pass. Don't tell me how it looks. I don't think it's in Game Pass yet, Mo. I think it's
No,
available
it's not.
tomorrow.
Nah, I'll only wait for the same. I'm waiting for it to get
It's
on
tomorrow,
Game Pass.
right?
Yeah,
It's
it's on
tomorrow.
Game.
Ashes.
I'm
It's
definitely
tomorrow.
gonna give it a run. To me, because it seems like something that's easy to get into and get out of. But I really want to actually give it an honest playthrough because
No, Ashes. No,
like,
no. Like, no offense, dude. And I love you. I fucking love you. But I don't trust you to be objective about anything from Xbox. Like
no, but like
Xbox could give us the remake of Halo 1 and give it like the spit and shine graphics, but keep it exactly as the Halo 1 and you'd still find a way to shit on it. I'm sorry, man. I'm
what?
sorry. Like
Dude, I
I
love
trust your opinions. I
yeah.
trust your opinion on anything except Xbox. I can't do it. I'm sorry. Big Mad
Okay.
Mo says, look, tell him to get all the games on app. You know what, Mo? Let's do this. Osha, since you're going to make the list about how PlayStation improves so many games, right?
Yeah.
Make your list, Mo. Make your list. and then tomorrow y'all can sort this out in the comment section. I'm interested to see. And Nate
Mhm.
says, "Wise podcast is a bunch of bots. Don't do that." No way. We come on. We both know there's a very big slant to PlayStation there. Come on. What's this? Voidlock says PlayStation fans don't call out Sony, just complain about Xbox. Dave Reezy celebrates 4 months of membership. Appreciate you. You should know that every single one of those dollars, Dave Reezy, goes into me getting my green card so I can go to Texas. Appreciate you. Says PlayStation can literally put out slop and get praise. It's PlayStation. It is what it is.
Is it the
Ty
same
says
same
says
PlayStation
I'm
that put
woke.
out Concord?
Hey man.
Exactly, because yeah.
Ty says I'm woke in the comment section. Won't say it to my face.
No,
Jay Reezy says
but
PlayStation and Nintendo doesn't get rated on terms of quality compared to Xbox. Dude, when you're last, that's what happens. Bro Main,
Why are
fifth
you
floor.
lost?
Welcome in. Welcome in, Bro Main. Says if the character was light skinned, we might have been looking at a
Oh,
9.5.
nonsense.
All right. So we've caught up with the comment section. Guys, we have to get into the Nintendo stuff because that's what
Mhm.
is on the thumbnail. So, Oshis, I will give you the last word on this. And then
Yeah.
Ty also get your last word in, and then we need to move on to the Nintendo stuff. Go ahead, Oshis.
No, I'm definitely
Also,
gonna.
also, everyone, please make sure to smash the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and share it out, please. Memberships are also live, and we'd appreciate every single dollar you guys can send because I need to go to Texas. Go ahead, Oshis.
No, I'm gonna give an honest shake, like just like I did with Kenzeria Azao. I'm very big on supporting because I always say that there's not enough black slash African art out there. These guys and girls actually went out and did something that fits that parameter, and I'm definitely gonna give it a fair shake. And then yeah, and I'm gonna give honest feedback. And to your point about Xbox,
Pause, 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 Oshis.
that's it.
Jay Reezy, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I swear I'll be thinking about you when I'm on the plane. Says Oshis drinks Haterade. He got a
Oh
hard on
jeez,
for Xbox. God damn.
thank you,
That,
Daisy.
that's hot, bro. That is very hot.
And
Oshis.
it's not like,
Anyway,
sorry, like
go
one
ahead,
last thing I
Oshis.
wanted to say. Just one last thing I
Yeah,
wanted to say.
yeah,
And
yeah.
when it comes to Xbox, I enjoyed Indiana Jones. I just had to install it because it's on my PC and it just kept running out of memory. But I also enjoyed and loved Ninja Gaiden. I'm still playing Ninja Gaiden right now. Ninja Gaiden 2. Those are Microsoft projects that came out near perfect in terms of like
Pause.
execution.
Pause.
Hmm.
Oshis, when you've been in a relationship before, right? Um,
I
when
think so.
when when you're when you're with a woman and you do 10 things wrong, and she lets you know about it, she lets the neighbors know about it, she lets your mother know about it, she lets your nephews know about it, and then
Hmm.
you turn around and do 10 things right, and she'll whisper it to you in your sleep. Do you think it's fair for everyone to look at you, right? Everyone that's not her to look at you and be like, yo, dude, you're a pretty horrible person towards her.
Well, I
Do you think
mean,
it's
based
fair?
on their yes, it's fair from their perspective because that's what they
Okay,
see.
so the perspective is this is the first time I've heard you say those words. That's the perspective, Oshus. If you use the megaphone to shit on Microsoft, but then you whisper to your rat, right? You whisper to your
Hmm.
rat in your house that, ooh, Indiana Jones is kind of nice. We don't know that. The only thing we know is that you drink Haterade before you start talking about Xbox. That's the only thing we know.
All I'll say, Loki, is go back to the first, my debut or my first feature on when I was younger and much more naive. When I first featured on TWS,
I was only singing praises. In fact, you got annoyed at me because all I kept doing was I kept selling people Game Pass. I kept plugging Game Pass every chance I could. This was when, like 3 years ago?
Yeah, pretty much. I
Exactly.
think 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, like how much has changed since then?
And the problem, Oshus, the problem is not that Microsoft's L's have mounted. The problem is that you only talk about their L's. When they get a dub, you pretend like it never happened. And the only way you can kind of rescue this accusation that I'm throwing at you right now is
Mhm.
not even to say go and check the last podcast we did together. No, the only way is for you to talk about 2 3 years ago. Can you do you see what's happening?
Mm-mm.
It hasn't been 2 or 3 years of Microsoft consistently taking L's.
Are
That's
you
not what's
sure?
been happening. You just said it, brother.
I'm
You just
kidding. I'm
I
I'm
didn't even put it
kidding.
in your
I'm
mouth.
kidding.
You are the
I'm
one
kidding.
who just bandied out two
Uh,
recent dubs from Microsoft. But
I'll
at
add
no
that.
point on
Yeah.
TWS did anyone hear a peep come
Yeah.
out of you. See, for me, right, the way I see it is the reason a lot of people listen to me and Ham when we talk about when we shit on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, whatever, right? EA, blah blah blah, is because we try to always be real about it. When EA brings out Microsoft Andromeda, we'll always shit on those the facial features. When we shit on the writing, that was terrible. But you will never catch us say that that was not the best Mass Effect gameplay of all time, because that's what it was, bro. It was the best. You need to be honest with people, bro. Don't just come here and shit on Xbox consistently and pretend like they never take dubs. Because then that's when I come up and start making decisions like, you know what, whenever Osh is talking about Xbox, bruh, let me check my Twitter. Let me, you know what, if I wasn't hosting, I'd be going to take a dump when Osh is talking about Xbox specifically.
Mm, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I love
Sure.
Xbox. I
All
just don't
right.
like Microsoft games.
Uh the Guinea, I would say that's Xbox's biggest recent L, getting rid of Tango Games and Ghostwire Tokyo and Hi-Fi Rush. That was the most recent. They've had quite a few. Big Mad Mo says, "Look for the panel. What's the real color of the sun?" Tai Mo is a frequent donor and supporter of TSWS. I need y'all to answer this question. Tai, what's the color of the sun?
More orange, I think. I believe
All
orange
right,
white.
Ushers, what's the color of the sun?
Isn't it multicolored?
Ushers.
It's inclusive.
Oh my god. Oh god.
Well, it depends.
All right.
What are you looking at the sun through? What we see is just a bright orange ball in the sky, but like if you look at it through like the most powerful microscopes or whatever telescopes, you sort of like see all the different, yeah, explosions and stuff, and yeah.
It's
See,
actually just white. It's just like it looks
fellas,
orange and red
fellas,
through different
fellas.
atmospheres.
This Ushers, this is the
Hmm.
issue. When people ask you an obvious question, even if you had said the sun is yellow,
Mm.
it's not the scientific answer. It's not the scientifically correct answer, but it's close enough. Refusing to answer the question is it's like those obvious things. Just take the easy win and keep it pushing.
Mm-mm.
No,
What's
no,
fun
it's
about
too,
that?
all right. What's fun about that? Okay. All right. All right. All right. It only took us 54 minutes to get to the main topic of the day.
Wait, hold on, look. Let me close out the South of Midnight one.
Of
Um,
course, shit on it one more time.
yeah, let me
Tell us why
practice
it's a
this guy.
horrible. Tell us why it's a horrible game. Why no one should play it. Xbox should be ashamed to even be selling South of Midnight.
Mhm.
Tell us, Ty.
In I was gonna say
Seawolf
20,
Gaming, welcome in.
2024, I think one of my favorite games to play was actually Hellblade 2. It had some shortcomings, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. Very artistic game, but with a couple of changes, the game could have been something different, a little bit something more special, right? When I see South of Midnight, it's another artistic game from Xbox, and I think that's just because of the type of art that is being displayed here and the story, and it's not confusing. I would pretty much prefer it. I'm pretty sure of that. The difference here is I can like South of Midnight the same way I liked Hellblade 2, but I want people, or I think people should have looked at South of Midnight in the same way they look at Hi-Fi Rush. That same kind of vibe of like, wow, this is a great product. And I think maybe that's where I'm coming. Well, no, I think that's where
Yes,
I'm coming
beginner.
from here. That they could have done that if they had sorted out the gameplay mechanic. There would have been no room for disagreements that this is a truly special product. But because they left that room due to the fact that the gameplay for some people was inconsistent or boring, we're having this discussion. So that's it.
All right. Cozy, I love you, but what the fuck? What the fuck? Seriously. Get it together, Cozy. Big Mad Mo, I finished South of Midnight actually. I finished it on Xbox. I will be buying it again on Steam to finish it one more game. One more game. Uh so why is the Son of Midnight not white? Oh my god, Vince. Oh my god. All right. All right. Let's get to the actual topic at hand, people. The Nintendo Switch, the best console that's ever come out, the best value in gaming, really, if you pay attention. The Switch 2 won't have achievements, Nintendo confirms. I don't know if this is a biggie for you, Oshus or Ty. I don't know. But for me, I'm an achievement whore. This is like one more reason why I will not be getting a Switch, at least not day one. Um, I don't know. It speaks to my I don't know if it's reptilian brain, but it speaks to something in me when I do the thing and then the thing pops on the screen, right? So for me, this is a big problem, and it's just one more knock on the Nintendo Switch, because he says it's fine that there's no achievements. All right, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, Mo's on chapter 8. Nice. Nate says you buying South of Midnight twice. Oh, so you good to go on that Texas? And Nate, don't be like that. Don't be like that. Subscribe to the channel, and also subscribe for the for the memberships. They're live. We would really appreciate your support, Nate. Don't be like that. I don't want to fly like business class to Texas. I want to go first class. Come on, Nate. It's your $1 a month that's going to change things. Right? Memberships are $1 a month. Seawolf, I wonder if the problem with Xbox games has to do with how well those that are up on PS5 are selling. I don't know, man. I think it's the Xbox tax. It's not, I used to be a denier. I think it's starting to come out real. Jax82 welcome says Nintendo never had achievements. Yeah, but just because you've been bad at something does not mean you cannot improve. Cozy, and they feel more thought out than the system ones. All right. Reezy, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I'll probably have a lemonade on the plane with this $5. Thank you. Says Osha's checklist every morning. Here we go. Number one, wake up. Number two, shit on Xbox. Number three, shit on Xbox. Number four, shit on Xbox. Number five, brush teeth, shit on Xbox, and go to sleep.
Yeah, I should do a morning routine video.
Oh my yes. Oshes,
Just do it
please,
like with all the intermittent parts where I just shit on Xbox. That's not far
bruh.
from the truth. That's not far from the truth.
Oshes, please do it. Do it for me.
I just do it on
Do it for
different
me,
mediums, like on Twitter, YouTube. I have to have all the bases
bro.
covered. We need to get
Bro,
Instagram in there.
let's hire a video editor. One of these guys from TikTok. Come up with like a 30-second vid for you to just take a huge dump on Xbox and use that as like your your
That would be
your your
entertaining.
your pinned tweet. I think that would be fun. I think that
Yeah,
would be fun.
I would have fun with that.
Dear Easy, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I really appreciate that. Vince says achievements made gaming worse thanks to Microsoft. What? Wow. Okay. Guinness is not bothered by achievements. Fair enough. Big Mad Mo celebrates 19 months. Ladies and gentlemen, 19 months. The man is on almost 2 years supporting TSWS nonstop. Thank you so much, Big Mad Mo. Says getting ready for Expedition 33 soon. Oh my God. Mo, I don't even know, dude. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to like. I don't even want to think about that. Let's just stew in South of Midnight because Expedition 33 is going to be another like whole week of not doing anything other than just celebrating because that game looks awesome. It looks amazing. I hope it plays as great as it looks. The Guinness is accurate description of a PlayStation fanboy. There as not once playing games mentioned. God damn, Oshus. Yo, they're coming for you in the comment section. Oshus. Would you like to
You see,
respond
that's
to the
the
comment section? And
no,
then when you're
that,
done responding
yeah.
to the comment section, switch to no achievements. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, so the only thing I'll say is that that's where I disagree. Like I'll take you call me an Xbox hater. I'm an Xbox hater all day, baby. Like with I
You
don't
know
even
what?
feel bad or regretful. But the issue I have is when you call me a pony because I have
Uh-uh.
not bought a PlayStation thing in over a decade. Like I've not bought like a PlayStation, not in a decade, but in the last 5 years, I've not bought a PS5 or PS5 games. The last console I own is from a decade ago, which is a PS4, and I only bought it now at like 2 years ago. So being a pony is definitely. I don't even like the sort of games that they make, but I can appreciate the quality. That's it.
What you're supposed to do is go, yeah. Anyway, Oshus, what are your thoughts on the switch to achievements not being implemented, even taking into consideration that the original Switch did not have
Mm,
achievements?
mm. So I thought Nintendo should have or would have implemented achievements like back in the day when they first introduced the Wii, because it
Yeah.
was almost like a mainstream feature on all platforms. But for some reason, for Nintendo, and I'm surprised because this would be such a huge venture for them. Like for them not to have achievements, like 3 generations after achievements were introduced is still baffling to me. But I suppose they look at the metrics and they think that the gamers are not interested in achievements. However, if I can just think of the monetization options that Nintendo has with achievements, example being like they could even implement this stuff to go with amiibos and all their other toy stuff instead of just giving you fake trophies. You could actually win shit like amiibos or special edition limited amiibos because you unlocked this achievement. For me, I think they're missing a huge business opportunity to monetize their already overly monetized ecosystem.
This is a missed opportunity to do what?
To monetize their platform, like to add extra monetization on their
You
already
think it
very
would have been a
monetized.
good dub?
Yeah, because if well, adding it, yes, because of the fact that like they could actually make that stuff like tied to amiibos and other stuff that Nintendo does that's just uniquely Nintendo. And I don't know how, like even like maybe go back to Nintendo history, look at like things like you remember the Nintendo Championships, put some spin on that has to do with that. There's so many things from a Nintendo's perspective because of how gamified Nintendo's ecosystem is that could benefit from achievements. So I really would like to understand why they don't have them.
Yeah. I also don't get it, man. I don't get like achievements is the type of stuff that for me is making me like main Steam and Epic. The other launches, I'm not sure if they're as good with achievements. I think the Ubisoft launcher does have achievements. I think it does.
Yeah, even EA has. I think all of them do.
Really.
Mm.
So this makes it even worse. So what the hell is wrong with Switch? Tai, please tell us why Switch 2 also not having achievements is actually a good thing.
Okay. I don't think we should be surprised too much because Nintendo has always been behind, and I don't know. They always take their time to do these things. Now, it does have achievements in the sense that if Ubisoft drops an Assassin's Creed game, they will have their own achievements. It's just not tied to your platform, so that's the only problem. Nintendo just has refused to unify everything. Why are they doing this? I don't know. I don't think they care too much. I don't think they think their fan base as well cares, as far as they're concerned. Um, this is a company that can, you know what? This is a company that can drop Mario Kart for $80 and they can get away with it. So as far as they're concerned, they can do whatever the hell they want to do, and they're not going to waste time and resources on something like as silly as achievement, where it's only probably really a minute amount of players who like it. I'll be very honest. I don't even care about achievements too, and I imagine the vast majority of people who don't either. It's just a very select few people online who are very, anal about it. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say on it. Just that Nintendo doesn't really care.
You calling me anal?
Yes, yes, for sure.
Okay, but do you think it would be a net positive if they had achievements, or do you
Um,
think it actually adds to their charm that they don't have achievements on on their machine?
I think that does nothing for them. Like it's not a net positive. It's not even a negative. I think for us, we might look at it as a negative. But once again, there's nobody who's gonna probably base the decision of buying this product off this. And you never know. They might do it in the future. I'm just not too sure if they care that much. They'll probably look at responses, see if people go crazy and demand it. But to be honest, no one really cares. I mean, their fan base doesn't care, so I don't. I thought we'll see it, and it's probably just them saying like it's all about the games. Like we don't care about this other extra stuff. The games is all that matters, and we're gonna drop you amazing games, and that's enough.
Yeah, but that's a game within a game. And I think I read it wrong. Oh, sorry. I hope I didn't read it wrong. But I remember seeing an announcement that Zelda Switch 2 version had achievements.
No, I believe on the app. I think they have a mobile phone app where you can download, and I think there's achievements on that.
So why not just roll it out everywhere? Because clearly, right, they're seeing they're seeing that there's something there. There's some kind of value. Actually, I just pulled it up. Let me let me quickly put it up on the screen. Cozy says Nintendo used to have great physical rewards. What type of rewards are we talking about, Cozy? Because I've never been a Nintendo guy. So if you can bring them up, it would be interesting to discuss if maybe they still have them. Ty, do you know of any rewards that Nintendo used to have?
None that comes to mind, to be honest.
Huh. All right. Ushers, are you aware of any rewards? Here we go. Bags, chargers, plushies.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you're talking about physical rewards, it was almost like Microsoft. What is that thing with the points where you can actually get actual stuff?
From playing games.
Yeah, from playing games. What is that thing that they do where you can get
Man,
points
the
and then you
reward
can?
system. They call it
Yeah, it's
reward
the one.
system.
Yeah, I think it's the same one that you complain about a lot.
I complain about it because we don't have it.
Yeah. So
But yeah,
it was
here's the
something like
article.
that. Yeah.
Here's the article. Zelda games on Switch 2 have achievements, but there's a catch. Let's just read the summary because fuck reading the whole article. Sorry, Game Rant. Sorry. Achievements for Legend of The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch 2 will be tracked via the Nintendo Switch app, not in game. Upgrades for both Zelda games on Switch 2 will include Zelda Notes, voice memories, and auto build sharing. Both Zelda games will be launch titles for the Switch 2, with a new Hyrule Warriors game coming in winter. How are they launch titles if they already exist? I help me, Ty, just help me. How are the two Zelda games that came out 5 6 years ago launch titles? Help.
It's just basically them saying, "Hey, you can get it on the Switch too, and it's gonna be remastered in some way, shape, or form via 60 frames per second, 120 frames, whatever it is." So yeah, technically it would be a launch title. They're just old games, remastered.
But hold on. Hold, oh my god. I need I need a minute. Wait. The PlayStation 6 can launch with The Last of Us Part 1 running at 120 frames per second, and it's a launch title.
Yeah, it would be for sure. You have to keep in mind, maybe this might not be the same for Nintendo, but I think Sony said was it 40% of people who got the
This is
PS5
nuts.
didn't have a PS4 account, like they weren't a PlayStation member. So it gives them a chance to resell these games, and people probably buy it.
I get that. I get that completely, Ty. I'm just saying exactly. See, Wolf Gaming is Nintendo, so it's fine. How is that a quote launch title? Close quote.
I mean, it's not like, again, it's the same shit I gave with to Xbox when they released the Series X and S with no games except next generation updates. I was like, how can you put out a product that doesn't have actual launch titles? But the only difference is, of course, with Nintendo, there are other titles that are brand new that are going to be launch titles, like Mario Kart World. So I get where they're coming from, and yeah, like it's not ideal, but I think it's where
But
we
it's
are
Nintendo.
currently.
So
No, but I mean,
it's
like,
Nintendo, so
people
I'm
are.
not gonna shit on it as hard as I shitted on Xbox. Say the
No, but
whole
I mean,
phrase, cautious.
like, Sony, like, is notorious right now. I think all the shit, if not most of the shit that Sony gets, is because of the fact that they're not producing any new games. Everything, they launched the PS5 Pro just
Oh
with
yeah,
remakes
here's another thing. Sorry,
or
Oshis. Sorry to cut
remasters.
you off. The Guinness
Uh,
bringing lots of heat today. Lots of heat all the way from the UK. I heard it's hot in the UK this weekend. I watched the Manchester Derby yesterday, and it was sunnier than Somalia. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. The Guinness says Xbox upgraded all of their first party series for free. No launch games. Nintendo makes you pay to upgrade your old game, quote unquote, launch title. Go ahead, Oshers.
uh.
Continue telling us it's the exact same thing that Xbox did.
No, it's not. That's what I always give, like, Xbox props for, is that in terms of an ecosystem that is the most customer friendly out of the three, hands down they have that. And that was one of the things that sold me on the series when it launched, is the fact that I could play all these games with the next gen 60 frames per second, or higher textures, with better resolution, etc. I could get all those upgrades absolutely for free just by the virtue of owning the previous version. And they definitely, that was a win for them. They definitely deserve props for that because nobody else did that. I think Sony has some $10 upgrade program.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm completely in agreement there with the Guinea. He's right.
All right. Moving on to some more great news from Nintendo. The Switch 2 Joy-Cons won't feature Halo effect sticks. I don't even know what that means. Do you guys know what Halo effect sticks means?
It means that they're unlikely to have stick drift over time.
Ah, so they will have stick drift.
No, no, no. It's high. It's very, very unlikely. I mean, everything is possible in a long enough timeline, but they are 10 times better in that sense than a normal or average. And what do they call them? Is it analog
Yeah, analog. All
controllers?
right.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance that the Switch 2 controllers will have stick drift.
No, they won't.
Because they don't have the Halo effect sticks.
Oh, they don't have the Halo effect sticks.
Yeah, that's what it says on the screen.
Oh, snap. No, no, no. I must have misread. No, if they don't have the Halo effects, it means that they are very prone to having. Oh, okay. That's a. Wow, Nintendo's cheap.
Tai, please tell us. Tell us why this is actually very consumer friendly and we should all be very happy that Nintendo is not ruining their controllers with the Hall effect sticks.
I don't even know. I don't really know what to say, to be honest, because like this was close to being a clash action lawsuit at some point, right? Everybody
Yeah,
was
I
complaining
remember.
about this. So if there's anything, you would think you would make sure this, because you gotta keep in mind this thing is expensive enough, right? It's 450 to $500.
Yes,
So people are
sir.
gonna be a lot more sensitive to damage and stick drift. You know, they're gonna and even the controllers are like $90. Like it's expensive. I don't know. There must be something else, right? That they've done to to not make
Let's
this
check the
rough.
article. Let's check the
Yeah.
article. They're not using the Hall effect. Maybe they're using something else that will save them. The long rumored feature, which would mark a significant upgrade on the original Joy-Cons, won't be included in the launch models of the console. Hall effect sticks, named after physicist Edwin Hall. All hail Edwin. Applause for Edwin. Where's the sound? I'm sorry. Like these are the real heroes of gaming. Edwin Hall. They use magnets and electrical conductors to measure the position of the stick, which make them effectively immune from drift, an issue that has affected many original Switch owners. When asked by Nintendo Life about the new Joy-Cons and their uh, components, Nintendo confirmed that Hall effect sticks would be missing. Here's the quote. Well, the Joy-Con 2's controllers have been designed from the ground up, said Nate Bildorf, Senior Vice President of Product Development and Publishing. They're not Hall effect sticks, but they feel really good. I'm sorry, guys. this it's not about playing your games. It's about feeling good. That's what it's about. He added, I like both the Joy-Cons and the Pro controller, but that Pro controller, for some reason, the first time I grabbed it, I was like, this feels like a GameCube controller. I was a GameCube guy. Something about it felt so familiar, but the stick on that especially. I tried to spend a lot of time making sure that it was quiet. I don't know if you tried really whacking the stick around, but it is really quiet. I'm thinking back to my Smash Bros. Days where you just whack it. Whack it. Okay. The Switch 2 Pro controller is one of the quietest controllers I've ever played. Nintendo has claimed the Switch 2's new Joy-Con analog sticks will be more durable than the Switch 1, when asked about potential stick drift issues. Right. Okay. So, two significant lawsuits over Nintendo Switch Joy-Con drift were dismissed in the US courts last year. A year earlier, following growing noise around the issue, Nintendo announced it would repair all Joy-Con controllers suffering from Joy-Con drift in the EEA and UK, even if they're out of warranty. So, it's cheaper for them, right? It's cheaper for them to deal with like 10% of the user base. The weird motherfuckers, guys like us that have the time and patience to take our controllers that have stick drift, return them, then they repair them, give us new ones or whatever. But the vast majority of gamers, let's be honest, the casuals that make up most of gaming, they'll just buy a new controller, and Nintendo did the math. At least this is what I'm extrapolating from here. They're like, no, putting in this Hall effect thing will be expensive and everyone gets the benefit. What we'd rather do is continue with an inferior product. I mean, the lawsuits failed, so clearly ain't nobody gonna sue us for this. We'll continue with the inferior product. It'll be cheaper, and there's nothing anyone's going to do about it. It's just going to be Ty, Oshus, and Loke, right, who make up less than 30% of our customer base, complaining. We can actually waste some money on them, changing two or three times. But the money we're going to make with the majority of the people that are going to buy Switches is way going to it's going to mammoth and destroy whatever money you're going to lose from repairing and replacing the broken Joy-Cons from people that have the patience to complain and hand in their broken Joy-Cons. Ty, What are your thoughts on my conspiracy theory?
So I think you're probably very spot on, to be honest. But let me steel man Nintendo for a little bit here.
All
They
right.
want to make a profit, which is fine. And from what I've been seeing with the Switch 2, from Final Fantasy 7 to Street Fighter, um, it seems like they've really knocked up the graphics in the game. And it's great. It looks actually really good. Is it better than the Series S? I don't think so. Well, I guess we'll find out, as time goes on or whatever. But if Nintendo is saying if we did this Hall controller thing and it would have buffed up, sorry, pushed the price up by an extra whatever, $20, $30, I'm fine with that. I'm actually fine with that at all. I think that's actually okay. I think that's a decent trade off. My Switch might have some drift, but it's not too crazy. At least I think so. So I'm actually in the camp of if they had to make a trade off, I think the trade off is worth it. I think the getting maybe a better battery life, getting better graphics, or or having the I don't know, just having maybe an overall cheaper product. I would take that over them putting Hall stick drifts at any point.
Ty, the
What's up?
comment is for you.
Try to relax your anus shoulders. I don't know what that
Your
means.
shoulders. Your shoulders. Uh, the Guinness says Edwin woke up, spat on a picture of Mario, and said, "I'm going to fix your shit." Then all third-party controller makers use the technology, and Nintendo just ignored them. Yes, the Guinness. That's what happened. Edwin Hall saved controller lag, and Nintendo's like, "Nah, we're good. We're good." Matthew Ham says Fark Q is 100% right. What did Fark say? Fark said the way analog sticks are designed, they break down over time and the connection is lost when a movement is made. Sadly, all controllers suffer this fate unless its Hall effect stick is gone. It's going to happen. Yep, it is what it is. Vince says so they reduced noise for bedtime gaming, bruh. The things I've heard about the games on Switch, I don't know, man. I don't know. Mystic Fragment says, sadly, you're right. It's a sad day, man. It is a sad day. When me and Sour Blow agree, it's a very sad day. Welcome in, Retro. How you doing, bruv? Up the Villa, up the Villa. Did you see United? Did you see United draw against City? We didn't even do much. We should have won, actually. We should have won. Um, who else is in here? All right. So I am not a conspiracy theorist, apparently. Oshus, do you agree? Do you agree with my conspiracy theory, or do you disagree?
It sounds excuse me. Sounds like something that Nintendo would do. So yeah, I think there's some sort of truth to be, yeah, in that theory.
And how do you feel about that? Are you more or less interested in the Switch? I mean, Ty is getting it day one, obviously, right? But
Um,
for you, when you hear this,
no, but like I already have a quality like gripe with
handheld.
Nintendo. Like I
Oh,
would
okay.
never buy. Like I would never like I the last I think I said like yeah the last Nintendo gaming device I bought was the DS, the original DS. And I just felt with that system that like yes, it's like a lot of the like it's just a very expensive ecosystem to keep games on. So no, like for me it was never in my radar. I already own a Rogue Ally. And yeah, I can just emulate most of their games anyway. So there's nothing in it for me to getting Nintendo jumping on the ecosystem. The only time I would ever get a Nintendo, and I think I've said this, is once I have kids. The first system my kids will play will be
Yeah,
a Nintendo.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's probably why they make all that money, right? It's probably why.
Yeah.
Uh, Retro says switch teams. You're welcome at the Villa. Retro, I don't know, man. I'm sorry. Like, I love United. I can't do it. I can't, dude. I've been through the darkest of dark days. Well, I think, like, I've never seen us relegated. Maybe that will happen during my lifetime. The way things are going, I'll probably see it, but I can't see myself switching. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I can't do it. The Guinness says, as a Newcastle supporter, I appreciate the draw on the weekend and Forest losing. Cup and top three finish could be on the cards. I think the cup is doable. Didn't you guys break a streak, a 30-year streak or something of no trophies? Like period, no trophies. So yeah, I think you guys maybe the FA Cup, you might just win it. As for third, I don't know, man. Villa's on top of you. Man City's on top. Chelsea, Forest is having a killer season. Arsenal's not stopping. Liverpool's not stopping. I don't know. Third, Guinea. Like it's very optimistic, bro. It's very optimistic. Yes, retro. The table is looking tight. It's looking very very tight. I could make a joke about tightness, but I'm just it's there. All right, I'm not gonna say anything. Cozy says the 3DS was peak. FYI, my launch edition Joy Cons don't have drift. 8 years old, says Vincent Vega. Ty and Oshers, correct me on this one. Now I just want to talk about in general wear and tear of consoles. This is just a random like side alley discussion. I found that for me personally, I can use the launch controller from start to finish of a generation. Um, I usually take care of my stuff. Like I'm not even saying like I'm super gentle with it or whatever, but I just don't chuck it around. Like even for example, Osha's slippers. I'll wear my slippers until like they're properly worn out and people are like, yeah, dude, it's done. But I'm like, no, but I can still wear them. You know what I mean? They still sole.
Mm.
It's not torn up or whatever. Shoes, same thing. My shoes usually die like from the sides, not from me like breaking it or whatever. They die from like oxidation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel that yeah, the drifting it's a problem, whatever. But I also feel that there's a lot of people that don't take care of their stuff. Like even my phones, I
Yeah.
still have a phone. I still have my old phone that I bought in 2015. I still have my phone that I had in 2010. I don't use it anymore, but I still have it. Do you know what I mean? And it's still in
Mhm.
condition. It's just like slow and whatever. Do you feel like that's an issue in gaming? People just don't take care of their stuff, or maybe I'm exaggerating.
I think people just have different intensities in which how they play games because I've never had stick drift on any of my recent consoles. The only thing I can remember that was back in the 360 days because of how we abused those controllers because they were very solid in terms of build. But recently, no. But it's got to do with you taking care of your consoles or taking care of your stuff and just the intensity in which you game. Some people get very sort of caught up and then they throw controllers and they do all sorts of shit. So I think that contributes to that. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Ty, should gamers just take care of their stuff as well? Like, sure, you need to have the Hall effect, but also don't be chucking your stuff around.
Yeah, so there's a lot of truth there. Gamers do damage their controllers because one of my Xbox controllers is damaged as well, and I'm using the Starfield one as a replacement.
How did
I'm a
it
lot
damage?
more. I'm a lot. I don't know. The one of the triggers is just kind of like stuck a little bit, so pressing it is a bit hard.
Mm,
So what I would say there is like, yeah, I was probably being a bit too rough on it because the Starfield one is perfectly fine, and that's because I'm kind of just playing it normally. I'm not, putting a lot of pressure on it. So gamers are a little bit sloppy, but it does depend on the intensity. If you're someone who likes fighting games and you're playing against like local play with your friend, you're going to damage that controller, for sure. Um, but yeah, I think it's half and half. We need to be careful, but also I think durability needs to be, excuse me, also needs to be a factor. I mean, people have complained about the Xbox Elite controllers breaking apart on multiple occasions. So there's clearly companies there just not, doing their due diligence and just releasing average products to the market.
all right, all right. That's fair. Cozy says Switch games emulate much better than DS and 3DS. Cozy, these are not things you should be saying in front of the public. All right? Relax. What are you doing? Guinness says we won the Carabao Cup. Look where we are with two games in there. Relax, relax. The game, like Alexander Isak is good, but the rest of the squad is not so good. I don't think they're good enough to climb up to third by the end of the season. I don't see it. Uh, Hamilton went to Ferrari and they got their first double disqualification in 75 years as a team in Formula One in China. Were they disqualified because of his driving or because of the technicians? I'm curious to know about that one. Cozy says Switch Joy-Cons have a ridiculous drift. There's a reason Nintendo repairs them for free. And someone did the math, guys. Someone did the math of like how much does it cost us to replace these things versus putting Hall effect on all of them. And they were like, nope, we're coming out winning if we don't do it properly. We're still coming out winning if we have to repair all of these consoles. And Nate says also some people in this community barely play games, so I wouldn't expect them to get stick drift. God damn, that's messy. Matt, welcome in. Matt likes games. Said stick drift is bad if you're someone who mainlines first-person games. Hall effects are almost necessary for that stuff. That's probably why Switch doesn't have many first-person games. And now with that new feature, the mouse feature that you can use the Joy Cons, stick drift doesn't matter, right? Because I think that effect is it's we have to be honest, guys. They innovated there. That was very nice from Nintendo. Yes, Ty, Oshus?
Didn't Lenovo come up with that whole mechanic first, where you could use the Joy-Con as a mouse?
What?
Lenovo with the Legion Go.
No way. There's no way that's true. For
Look it
real?
up. Yeah, like they have detachable. That device of theirs is detachable, like Joy-Con type things, and you can use one as a mouse, like to navigate with.
Hold on. Uh, oh shit! Yeah, yeah. Lenovo did it first. God damn, bro. Okay. Cozy says Animal Crossing killed my Joy-Con. All right, Oshus. All right, someone's definitely paying attention. I was trying to give Nintendo the dub, but all right.
I think the last Nintendo invention that was that I would say influenced the industry. No, I don't mean the rubbish touchscreen or the motion control. It was
Hmm.
probably the. Would you guys agree? It was probably the joystick,
Which one?
the last Nintendo like
You,
contribution
you
to
you mean
gaming.
like
In,
N64?
in terms of
Yeah,
innovation.
No,
yeah,
don't forget,
innovation.
it was probably Rumble. They invented Rumble.
Rumble, yeah, Rumble.
It was Rumble on
Rumble's
the
probably
N64
yeah,
with the Rumble packs. That was
Yeah.
so
yeah,
freaking cool. Yes, that was
and
so
then
awesome.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
That's
don't
probably the
even
last
forget
one.
the 4 player. It was them who did it first, right? For 4 player
Yes, the
N64.
console. But the N64 was so. I always get
It was so
heartbroken.
ahead of, like, it was so good. Like it really
Dude,
deserved way more sales than what it actually got.
yeah, it
How
did.
many sales did the
But
N64 get?
Around 60 million.
no, dude. Isn't it 34 million? Are you
No,
sure
no, no, no,
64?
no,
No.
no, no, no. I think it was.
Don't
I
tell
think
me
it
the
was 60.
N64
I
sold.
think it was around less than 40 million. It did less than Super Nintendo, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my god, 32 million.
Yeah,
What?
I'm 100%. Yeah, I was sure.
What?
Wait, why
Against
does it 60?
you, probably thinking about what got.
NES.
Yeah, in NES did 68,
This is
68
sad.
million. Yeah.
This is so sad.
It is sad because, in my opinion,
That's
if I
heartbreaking.
have to count my Mount Rushmore of consoles, the
64 is there?
N64 is there, and it's, geez, probably
All right,
number
let
three.
me get to the comment section and then we'll do the Mount Rushmore. Also, comment section, come up with your Mount Rushmore of consoles. I'm interested in this one. Matt says also Hall effects are kind of exactly what controller manufacturers don't want to do because if you never get drift, you'll not buy another controller. Fact, because like I've said, I've been able to go from like one console to the next with one controller, no problem. It's wild. Vince says Loke disqualified because under minimum weight and rule breaking on Hamilton's car. Oh shit. Okay, so it wasn't his driving. Okay. All right, gotcha. Dustborn won't ruin anybody's Joy Cons because no one's playing it. Ron Slasher, stop it. Retro says Sony had Rumble first. No, I'm pretty sure the 64 had it. The original PlayStation controller was that one that didn't even
The
have the
original
analog
PlayStation
sticks.
1 controller didn't even have
The sticks.
joysticks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It wasn't PlayStation.
It was a boomerang.
Yeah, 64 didn't sell gangbusters. Games were too expensive compared to PS1.
Yeah, they were $100. That's what happens when you sell your games. At
This is what
$100.
happens, motherfuckers. You guys think things have changed? All right, wait. Fuck. It says it was Sony who brought it to market first. Funny enough, it was the same year as 64. Nope. We're calling cap on this one. We're calling
No,
cap on this
Nintendo
one.
did. I'm pretty sure that was a big deal back in the
Yeah,
day.
that
I
was
still
a big
remember.
deal.
Okay, here we go. The Mount Rushmores. The Guinness says Dreamcast, OG Xbox, PS2, of course, and N64. Guinness, Mount Rushmore is 4. You can't pick 5 on the Mount Rushmore. You can't pick 5. Uh, what's this? PS1 had Rumble before N60. Okay. Retro's insisting. Send me this link, Retro.
Mhm.
Tweet it at me. Let's fucking do this. Go use Google. Easy to find out who had. Okay, which console had the Rumble feature on
Sony
its
had DualShock.
controller
Nintendo had Rumble.
first?
Yeah.
N64 was the first console to have controller rumble in April 1997. If there's an article that says PlayStation had DualShock before April 1997, let's see it.
The feature was pioneered by the N64 because again, it worked very different from DualShock. What
Oh my
we have
God.
now
The Guinness-
is based on Rumble more than it is.
Yeah, the building blocks of your controller shaking. Nintendo said that. Anyways, Reezy
And
says
th-
I
and
could
that
have
was the
swore
last time they ever
more
innovated like
N64 was sold than 30. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. You think something is popping, and then you look around and you find out, oh, guess it's not. Just like me and South of Midnight. Anyways, Oshus, so, what's your Mount Rushmore of consoles? Since you brought it up.
Handhelds included.
Yes,
that's
it's
a
a
good
console,
question.
bro.
Oh,
Like,
Jesus.
dude,
See, now you've just
if you're
made things
playing video
complicated.
games, okay, Ty, go first. Dude, console, right? If you can play games on it, it's a platform. I count it as a console. Let's go. Ty, go
First one
first.
is
Number. It has to be
not in
4.
any particular order, but Super Nintendo's there.
Okay.
The Game Boy is there. The
Super
N64
Nintendo
is there.
Game Boy. Jeez, this guy's a Nintendo fan.
N64, and PlayStation 1 is there. And for the last one, this one's a bit tricky, but I'll go for the oof. This one's really hard, but I think for now I'll go for Xbox.
Which one?
First one.
Oh, okay.
Wait, Xbox instead of the PS1.
No, I said PS1.
Wait, Mount Rushmore is 4, not 5.
Oh, it's 4. Okay.
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, N64, PlayStation 1, and Game Boy.
There we go. No space for the Xbox. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
that's it.
sorry. Okay. Damn, this thing is really popping off in the comment sections. And Nate says, I looked it up. It says technically Sony did it first as it was actually a controller released with it, not an add-on. Homie, who did it
No,
first?
wait.
You want
The
to
actual-
qualify.
yeah.
You want to qualify how it was implemented. Who did it first? That's the question. All right? We can't talk about who did the first platforming game. Technically it wasn't Nintendo because Nintendo, their platforming game came within the console. It was PlayStation because their platforming game, it was separate and you had to buy it. That's not
I
how
mean,
it works.
it's like saying like who did
it
like
first?
wireless gaming first. Well, it wasn't Xbox because they had a wireless adapter that you had to attach as opposed to it being internal. Like, nah, that's not the way we look at it though.
Come on. Fox says Sony's dual analog controller for the PlayStation released in Japan in April 1997 included a basic Rumble feature. Nintendo Rumble Pack for the N64 was released shortly after. Send me this link, fuck. Send me this link. Please send me this
Every
link.
resource I've ever, and I've been a Nintendo fan since I was like 10. Like every resource that I know, and I followed like you remember Cybernet?
Yeah, yeah.
Like that is where we got all our from Lucy Lowhurst.
Yes.
From that's where we
I,
got all
you know, our news.
our news. And I remember when they still had those boomerang controllers when Nintendo came up. Because don't forget, Nintendo had already built the controller to have the expansion at the back, so they were already prepared for something like a Rumble Pack. Sony had to redesign the entire controller for it to be DualShock.
All right,
That's
all right.
how advanced
As
Nintendo was when it came to like designing hardware.
as they look for the links and share the links, Mystic Fragment Sour says N64, SNES, and PS1. Great choices, but you're missing one. Mystic,
Yeah, you
it's
more
four
for
choices. You have to pick four. Cozy says, and this one's a hot take that Cozy has always had, and I've never understood it. Like, and I'm a PS guy. I have enjoyed
PS3.
PlayStation, and she picks the worst one. She always picks the worst PlayStation. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, it has the best Metal Gear, but still, as like a whole console, come on.
But can I
Uh,
make a comment about Cozy's selection?
all right, go ahead.
Cozy's selection is very much from a very one specific generation.
Yeah.
All those, I think this was Cozy's formative gaming, and these are the consoles that had the
Which is
most
also
impact
fair.
on her.
Which is fair. Which is fair.
Yeah,
I mean,
because they
we've
all
got
came out around the same time.
yeah, but we got Sour also saying N64, SNES, and PS1. N64, PS1, same gen. SNES came like before, so it's acceptable. I can't wrap my head around the PS3. PSP was cool. The 360 for me, that was the best Xbox has ever been.
It is
Like
hands
that
down.
that was if you owned the 360, you were hot.
Yeah,
Like you were cool owning a
the
360.
the 360 enticed PC gamers to buy consoles. It was the
Yeah.
first time PC gamers actually looked at a console and thought, "Shit, there's actually you telling me I can play my Unreal, my Doom, my all my PC games like my Baldur's not Baldur's yeah Baldur's Gate. What is the other one? Elder
Years of
Scrolls,
War.
Gears of War. Well, yeah, well, Gears was always an Xbox exclusive back then.
No, I'm
But like
saying
all
it
these
was a
games,
motivator.
yes, of course, I agree. But all
You are
those
you
PC
guys
games worked well.
are your list based on like your preference or more of like impact and legacy?
For me, it's
I would
based
say
on
it's a
everything.
mix. For me, it's a mix. Yeah,
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 same.
it's a mix.
It's culturally. How did that console affect you? Like we
Oh
didn't
my
have
god,
N64 here.
Fuzzy! What the fuck? Fuzzy says you were hot because your console was overheating. Yes, the red ring of death. Guys. I don't want to be the asshole that says it, but I'll say it. It never happened to me.
Oh,
I
dude,
owned,
you're
I owned
lucky.
like, I owned like two or three Xboxes, 360s in that gen. It never happened once. I'm
Did
just
you buy the early models or the later ones, the revisions?
we bought. Oh, no, we didn't buy the day one. We didn't buy the day one. We bought. I would say like maybe 6 months later because we bought the
Um,
PS3. We bought like two PS3s because we're like PlayStation is the shit. PlayStation is the best. Screw Xbox. You know what I mean? We bought two PS3s. We played Metal Gear. We tried buying other games and having fun, and it just wasn't popping off. And then
mhm,
Gears of War just it took everything over. We learned that you know what? It's not the triangle button, it's the Y button. It's not the
mhm.
X button, it's the A button. And the X button is now the X button, it's not the box or square button. It just happened, guys. I'm sorry.
Mm.
It just happened. Anyways,
You should check out Cozy's comment.
all right, hold on. Sony did it first by a week or something. LOL, look at the dates. Oh my god! Guys, weeks? That's what we're doing right now. Okay. Fuck Q used Google Gemini. All right. Who cares? PS1 took that generation. Fact, no doubt. The Guinness dual analog controller is not DualShock. That was the controller with two thumbsticks, not a rumble controller. Cozy says, I feel like that gen was the first that actually made great gameplay leaps. You know
When I
what?
think about that, I think she's right. That the
That's not.
PS3, the 360 was wow. Like the games that came out
Yeah.
for that generation.
If you compare to PS2 and Xbox and the first Xbox, you know what? She ain't
Yeah,
lying. She
yeah,
ain't lying.
no.
Like if you compare, what was the last GTA? I think it was GTA San Andreas. If you compare
Mhm.
San Andreas to GTA 4, just in
Yeah,
terms of
no, yeah, you're right. Like,
Actually, wait, quick one though. If
what,
we can do that, but what about the jump from like Sega Mega Drive to like PlayStation One? Like that 3D
that was
jump
also
was
huge.
huge, wasn't it?
That
I
was
yeah.
mean, we
also
go from
huge.
2D to like 3D. Like I remember playing
Mhm.
Super Mario, and then you go to Mario 64. That jump is insane.
It was,
Yeah,
but the only thing was, nah, the catch 22 there with like that whole jump was that the first initial batch of 3D games were kind of all ass. Real 3D games sort of came with like the likes of Mario 64. Then that sort of changed everything because you still had a lot of developers making 2D games simply because of the fact that the uh, the 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 2D games were perfected. Basically, you could make almost pixel perfect 2D games.
Yeah,
If you
but
guys are talking about the leap from Super Nintendo to
but it wasn't
PS1,
just graphics. No, but it wasn't just graphics. It was also gameplay.
storytelling.
It
yeah,
was
no,
also
absolutely, yeah,
no,
final,
no, fellas. Actual gameplay. Forget storytelling. Forget graphics. Actual gameplay also evolved big time, bigly on the 360. You had Call of Duty breaking new ground. You had Gears of War doing damage. Metal Gear Solid 4 on the PS3 and the camo change, the active camo change on MGS4, on Uncharted, the transitions between the crazy set pieces into gameplay like seamlessly. There was actual gameplay leaps in the 360 and PS3 era. It wasn't just graphics. It wasn't just graphics. Uh the Guinness says just Google it. That's the date it came out. All right. Cozy says I can't think of any games before that gen on console that really wowed me. Cozy, you're telling me when you played GTA San Andreas. Guys, come on. You guys are telling me when you played San Andreas on the PS2 that did nothing to you. That did nothing. Ty, were there any impressive games on the PS2 generation that blew you away?
Oof. I think San Andreas was probably a
Oh, beginner
highlight.
send
And
me a
also,
link.
Metal Gear Solid was also
Right.
pretty good as well. But
Dude,
I
MGS
was
2
primarily a
and
GameCube
3.
guy. But yeah, see, I was primarily a GameCube guy. So to me, like even the wrestling games like Day of Reckoning was good. Super Mario Sunshine was good. Soul Calibur 2 was great. F Zero was great. Legend of Zelda was great. Yeah. I actually felt that that generation Nintendo had the better games overall. Resident Evil 4 came out as well during that time. I just don't know how they dropped the ball. I mean, I do know, but
He doesn't know they dropped the ball. Ushers,
yeah, well.
what games wowed you before the 360 and PS3 era?
You know what's the fondest memory I have of my PS2 is I'd had it for a long time now, and I'd played games like Resident Evil 4, which were classics. I'd play Final Fantasy 10, another 10 out of 10 classic. A lot of people say the original version of that game. I had played so many like polished, really good quality games. Like almost every release that came out that was AAA was a good 85 to 90%. Then some random dude that I never knew about before made a game called God of War, and then like that changed everything. The day I had my PlayStation for so long that I was
Ah, yeah.
never surprised until I put on God of War. Like I did not understand like how that game was made. It just didn't look like anything that was out of the time. It didn't play like anything that was out of the time. To me, it felt like a game that belonged on what I pictured would be a PS3 in terms of just the quality and the gameplay and the innovation. It was incredible, dude. Like it was, to me, that was the genre pushing, the like that changed the way we looked at PS2 games, especially from Western studios. At that time, Western studios didn't really, aside from GTA, didn't really have a huge footprint in gaming as big as Japan.
Yeah.
So Gears of War, hands down, to me, was proof of why the PS2 is probably, in my opinion, the greatest home console ever made.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Seriously, anyone, just go back and look at go and look at the games on PS2. Go and look at Metal Gear Solid 2. Forget
Yeah.
3. Forget 3. Go and look at Metal Gear Solid 2, motherfuckers. There's games coming out today that don't look as good as MGS2 on the PS2. Come on, fellas. As for the whole DualShock thing, fellas, send me a link, because the only person that sent me a link is the Ginner, and he sent me a link for Wikipedia. After the whole Yasuke kerfuffle, I take everything I see on Wikipedia with a very large grain of salt.
That's
Like
strong.
it is gigantic, right? I might get like a sodium infection. Is that even possible? I don't know. Point is, I'll get a sodium overload from how much salt I have to take to take in information from Wikipedia. But Wikipedia says that the DualShock was released November 20th, 1997. All right. Yes, Dayreezy, PS2 is very goated, no doubt. Like no, there's no even discussion on this. All
Yeah.
right, so Ty gave us his Mount Rushmore. Oshus, give us your Mount Rushmore of consoles.
So mine is PS2, Xbox 360, Nintendo 64.
Beginner, you're freaking
Um,
hilarious, man. You're freaking hilarious. Says, I can assure you that Wikipedia page is accurate. I updated it myself. Oh my god. I love it. I love it.
that's
Oshus, go
clever.
ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know. So yeah, it's PS2, Xbox 360, N64, and Super Nintendo. Funny enough, a lot of people don't have Sega in there. Unfortunately, to me, Sega was never really that pivotal. But a lot of people don't have Sega on the Mount Rushmore,
Yeah,
which
it's
is
weird.
weird.
Kind of strange. Because
I think
Sega did do
mine
some
is
damage.
primarily focusing on just impact. So PS1, I'm sorry, so Super Nintendo for sure. That's the foundation you set,
It
and then
saved video games, didn't it?
and then you got to go onto the PlayStation One, which brought all the casuals in. Like that's important. What did I say actually? I was going. The
Yeah, I
reason
think.
I wanted to put in the Game Boy because I felt that was important. So like
Yeah.
kids could like stay in their bedrooms and play games. So that kept the momentum going for sure. The PS2, one of the best selling consoles that really made everything casual, and that was a
Hell
leaping
yeah.
games as well.
Yep.
I think the reason why I wanted Xbox to be in there because I think they did some good things, but I felt those things would have been achieved already. It just would have taken a longer time for you to get to it, like online gaming, etc. And Dreamcast already
Yeah.
touched on some of that as well, so that's the reason why I left Xbox out. And of course, you can say Xbox 360. I think that's a good shout out as well. Xbox 360 and PS4.
Definitely.
But
Definitely.
the Nintendo stops after the N64. There's no Nintendo console is on that list.
Damn.
I mean, the
Damn.
GameCube can be argued to be the last actual real game console that they made.
I think if I chose the GameCube, it would just be from a personal point of view because I love it.
Yeah.
But it didn't do anything for the industry. It just kind of came and went.
Yeah.
Retro says Ico and Shadow of the Colossus were two. Yes.
But look
Yes.
at that. Like, this is the thing I like about sorry to interrupt you, Luke, about the PS2 and that generation. Look at how different the games we are praising are. Like, there's very few games that are exactly either in the same genre or play the same. everything played differently. You could play a third-person game and it could be like Resident Evil 4, or you could play a third-person game and it could be like Devil May Cry, and those are from the same company.
Or
So
a
like the
third person game,
diversity,
and it could be Metal Gear.
or Gears, oh sorry, or God of War.
Yeah.
So
Oh, God of
it
War.
was so diverse, the sort of games you got, man. Like at no point in time did you look at a game and you had deja vu because it's the same thing that you played like 6 months or a year ago. Such I miss that time.
Listen, listen. I don't want to break your rose tinted glasses, Oshus,
Hmm.
but there were also lots of copy pasta games back in the day. It's just that you didn't play them and you don't remember. That's all. Because a lot of the games we're mentioning, they're like the creme de la creme of those generations. These are not just your random PS2 games. I'm just trying to be consistent, fellas. These are not your random PS2 games. These are like the best of the best on PS2. That's I'm just trying to bring it down just a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Seawolf Gaming says PS2, PSP, Vita, and SNES. Good shouts, good shouts.
The Vita though.
Uh, all right, listen. I said
Don't
good.
hate, don't hate.
I didn't say great. I said good. All right. For me, PSP and Vita, those two handhelds sucked. I had the
Yeah, I don't even think
PSP.
the PSP should be on anyone's list.
I
To be
got
honest.
Why?
the
That sounds
PSP.
crazy.
I regretted
Why would it be?
purchasing the PSP.
Why
I
did you
only
guys
got
hate
it
the
for
PSP?
Metal Gear Solid. I only got the PSP for Metal Gear Solid for the for the Metal Gear Solid port that was on it.
Peace Walker.
Peace War. That was
The,
it.
the, P- the PSP did
Everything
nothing for the
else,
industry.
I paid. I bought. Remember. Back in the day, Ushers, Look and Listen had this promotion for students
Mm-hmm.
in South Africa where you could buy games and keep them for like a month and give them back. And they, regardless, as long as the game worked, as long as you could prove that the game worked, they would give you back 50% of whatever you spent on said
Oh
game.
wow.
I returned so many games to Look and Listen for the PSP. Do you know what I ended up doing? I returned the fucking PSP. That's what I did. Because I kept
Why?
returning everything. The only thing that I kept from the PSP was Peace Walker. And that was it. Like, I'm sorry.
But
They
what? Why?
sucked.
Like, what's your
They all
what?
sucked. I didn't enjoy any games on the
Oh,
PSP. They all
okay.
sucked, in my opinion. Vincent Vega says Game Boy, PS1, Dreamcast, PSP. Finally, someone brought up a Sega console. Cozy has a second Mount Rushmore because, of course, you would have a second Mount Rushmore. SNES, Game Boy, Sega Game Gear, and Dreamcast. Showing
The,
your age, Cozy.
this is
Showing
a
your
real Mount
age.
Rushmore.
that's the real one. That's the
This
one
is
she
the
doesn't
actual
tell
one.
everyone.
This
That's
one
why she
makes
doesn't
sense.
tell people. Yes, she doesn't
Yeah,
tell people about this one. This is the one that's in the heart. Be
yeah.
honest, Cozy. Stop lying. This ain't your second Mount Rushmore. This is the real one. All right.
I think
My
the
Mount Rushmore.
Dreamcast definitely deserves, I think, a spot there. I could see people like, I mean, if I think about it now, the Dreamcast was probably more impactful than the original Xbox, correct?
Not
The
in terms of
Dreamcast say what?
sales.
No, original Xbox. In terms of everything it was
Yeah,
trying to do, and it came out first. It had the
Oh
screen, it
yeah,
had the
yeah,
four-player port,
yeah,
had the
yeah,
games,
yeah,
had online before Xbox did.
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Didn't they
the
have the
problem.
disc
Yeah.
attachment as well? First,
The what?
didn't they have the disc
No, no,
thing?
you're talking about the 3DS. Sorry, the 3DX or some shit like that that they made. They had the first modem attached to the console. I think you're talking about the 3D thing that they made, CDX, I think, or something. 32X, sorry,
Okay,
32X.
okay.
That's what you're talking about with the 3D attachment. But to Taya's point, in terms of games that were great, published by Sega, in terms of the last, if you're looking for the last great like year for arcade games, was probably between around 1999 and 1998, 98, 99. And Sega ported all those amazing games that we saw in arcades that we never thought could run in your living room. They brought all that heat in, but the problem with Sega is that aside from that, they had no third party. They had very little third party support because of the way they treated the third parties with the Saturn. So
They,
nobody in the West actually supported them when the PS2 hit. There was no one buying Dreamcast, and that's the unfortunate truth. It died
Right.
the same day the
All
PS2
right.
was released.
Day Reezy says N64, Dreamcast, PS2, and 360. Now this is a proper list. It's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
Mystic Fragment says Cozy has a third one in television and Atari. Yeah, listen. I'm not gonna let anyone go at Cozy like that. Don't be like that. Come on, come on. Cozy says no. I just own more console games from PS3 and 360 onward. Okay, okay. My Mount Rushmore is less varied than you guys's, and it's more, straight to the point. It's PS1, PS2, Xbox 360,
Wow.
and obviously, right, the GOAT,
Uh-huh.
the NES. Obviously, like
Oh,
it's
okay.
the console that saved gaming. Like,
I
oh, I mean, it's like people talking about the Mount Rushmore of basketball, and then you don't
yeah.
include Magic or Larry Bird. Mount Rushmore of football, you don't include like Cristiano Ronaldo. It's like, come on, you have to have NES somewhere there. Otherwise, like the building blocks, like this whole thing doesn't exist without the NES. It just
True.
is what it is.
I thought you were gonna say PS4.
Yeah, same.
The fuck out
I
of
was
here with
gonna
that
say
shit.
you are such a pony. So the only
Get the
PS
fuck out of
generation
here.
you didn't support was I was gonna say the only generation where you don't give PlayStation the dub is PlayStation 3. I was gonna say, dude,
No, no.
pony
Seriously, you actually
alert.
thought, Ty, did you also think I
I
was gonna
just
say PS4?
I mean, the way you kind of phrased it, like, PS1, PS2, I was thinking, like, what are we
this
doing here?
man's is
No. I
gonna say
mean,
PS4.
no. I mean it. It's PS1, PS2, 360, and definitely the NES. Those are the GOAT consoles. Anyone that hates on those consoles knows nothing about video games. Like, don't listen to anyone that shits on those four consoles. They know nothing. Uh, my Mount Rushmore is Ouya, nothing else matters, says fuck you. I mean, clearly, a man of culture. A man of culture. Because he says, like, CRPGs in the late 90s and 2000s absolutely were what I was playing. And The Sims came out in 2000, so I stopped caring about consoles. Fair enough. Fair enough. You made the jump to PC way earlier than a lot of us. I'm jealous, Cozy. I'm making the leap as we speak. But yeah, um, you made the jump way earlier, gentlemen. Everspace 2 is coming out. Have you guys even played the first one?
Hmm?
Have
I'm
you guys played
confused.
Everspace? Do you guys
Isn't
know
that
what
game already
Everspace
out?
is? What? The IGN article says it's not.
Everspace.
You mean it's coming out on
I
console, is it?
I played
No,
it on Game Pass. Is that not What
no.
am I thinking
It
about?
was the original Everspace that you played, not two.
No, man.
Everspace 2 is
Everspace
out.
2 has been out for like a year. I played it on Game Pass.
Guys,
It's very simulation heavy though. Like I actually uninstalled it like after a couple of
are
hours
we
because I
talking
was
about
just
the same game?
Everspace 2, yeah. The first one was on Game Pass. The second one was also released on Game Pass, unless it was on preview. I don't know, but I know for a fact that I played that
Okay, it's
game.
an expansion. My bad. It's an
Okay.
expansion. All right. Everspace 2 Wrath of the Ancients is an expansion that's coming May 12th, 2025. Have you guys played and finished Everspace or not even tried it?
I played it. Ty, do you want to go first?
No, you can go first.
So I played it because I was looking for because a lot of people said that like it had more realistic or more simulated space elements to what was available in Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem for me is I just did not find it very accessible. It's a very sort of like it's the sort of game that you need to be in that sort of space simulator for you to enjoy it. It's nothing like a Starfield, for instance. Yes, I do agree. Like the space
Are you saying
travel,
Starfield is better?
absolutely. Like Starfield is a far superior game to that,
Starfield's a
hands
better
down.
space fighting game than Everspace.
It's a better fantasy. Well, sorry, it's a better sci-fi space game. Basically, that's what
All
I'm saying.
right, all right. Ushers, you know what I want you to do? for the
Yeah.
rest of this month, I would like for you to engage in whatever it is that we're engaging in without bringing Xbox into it.
Okay, like even if it's good. Okay.
I don't think you can do it. I
Okay.
think you will fail, but I'm still putting the challenge in front of you. Like
I'll try. I'll
I'm willing to bet real money on it that you will fail. But here we are. Because it says every time I try to play it, I'd rather just play Eve or Starfield or even waste a K on Star Citizen. God, yo. So yeah, Ushers, are you looking forward
yeah,
to
but
Everspace 2 DLC or you good?
no. I didn't get into the game. I feel like Cozy. I'm exactly the same boat as her. It did not grab me, unfortunately. It looks like a very interesting game with a lot of interesting mechanics, but they're just not for a guy like me.
Okay, it's not for guys, it's for girls. Osha said it, not me.
No.
Taye, do you think this game is sexist, like Osha says?
Do I think the game is what? Sorry, I'm trying to see how to
Have you
answer
played
that.
Everspace? Are you interested in the DLC, brother?
No, I haven't. One of the things that Starfield has done
Oh
is
man.
it made me kind of look at some of these games to potentially check them out. But Starfield just makes me also remember why I never checked out these games because they don't have a story. They don't have that those
Yeah, that's
RPG
the problem.
Everspace
foundations.
has a story.
I
Everspace has a
mean, it doesn't have
story.
an RPG foundation we would all expect, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Even No Man's
it's
Sky, like I look at it and I'm like, well, okay, you can do this, you can do that, whatever. But
Yeah,
that's all. It's all boring after a while. You kind of need
same.
that foundation. You need that core. You need factions. You need all these details to make you invested in the world. Like I'm watching like No Man's Sky right now. Yeah, it's pretty. That's about it. So yeah, Everspace, nope, and I probably never played. The only sci-fi looking game that I'm interested in is Star Citizen, and I think hopefully that
Yes.
drops sometime this year. If it doesn't, fair enough. But yeah, whenever that drops, that'll be my next sci-fi go-to game.
not
Also, actually,
everything.
what the hell is what's Bethesda doing? Where's the update for Starfield?
Didn't they
Um,
say something about like watch this space like a week ago, 2 weeks ago? They were gonna announce something,
I
and
don't
nothing
think
ever.
so. I think that might have been someone else. But like something's gonna happen because it's coming on PS5, right? So I imagine they're gonna release a lot of updates with the PS5 version, which is fine. It kind of makes sense to do it all at the same time. I'm just hoping it's big changes. Like I mean, Cyberpunk 2077
All
changes.
right, all right. I mean, guys, you guys need to decide: is Xbox shit or is it awesome? Pick a lane. All right, pick a lane.
Xbox is
Cozy,
good.
It's
to close
both.
out the subject, to close out the DLC, Cozy says the game does everything just okay and it's jank. So that's good enough to not play the game. I agree with that. Seawolf is capping for Mass Effect, of course. No Man's Sky gets very choppy from manually landing. Guys, No Man's Sky, like the people that play it, I'm okay. I have nothing against them. But the people that cap for it online, every time Starfield starts trending, fellas, stop coping. Stop it. You're not having fun on No Man's Sky. You just don't have Starfield on PlayStation. It is what it is. Anyways, the next game is Devil Jam. It's a roguelite or roguelike where you defeat demonic bosses, and that's what it looks like. Uh, Ty, you into this type of games or you good? Because
Uh,
Brotato, remember Brotato was
mhm.
trending last year after Vampire Survivors also uh, got trending. So could you get into this?
It actually looks interesting, to be honest. You've had it playing the backer for some time, and it did kind of catch my interest.
Yeah.
However, I don't see myself buying it. I'm not really into this kind of games, but I'm sure the people who play Potato or Vampire Survivors would, give this a try.
All right. All right. Hey, I'm happy. I'm happy you're gonna play the Space Two DLC because I'm happy you're gonna give it a go. Uh, Oshus disappeared. Guessing some shenanigans with his internet. I don't know. As for me, every time I see a game like this, I just think, oh, cute. You're trying to be the next Vampire Survivors, which is fine. Which is fine. I just don't like your odds because the only one that successfully copied that formula, from what I've seen at least, is Brotato. And there's been a whole bunch of clones trying to be that like Vampire Survivors. I wish them luck, but I won't be playing this one until until I see something concrete from people commenting whether it's awesome or not. Because if this was a Souls like, I'd give it a go because I'm just a Souls like freak. But I'm guessing the people that are into roguelites like Tai will give this a go. Uh, and Nate says, I have the platinum for No Man's Sky and love it, and I've beaten Starfield twice while getting over 100 FPS playing it maxed out. Some of us built different. Again, Innate. Again, I have no hate to anyone that's into No Man's Sky. I just feel a lot of the love for No Man's Sky on the net, especially the ones that feel the need to drag Starfield into whatever praise that they're giving to No Man's Sky. A lot of it has to do with just people coping that they don't have Starfield. That that's what I see most of the time. Cody says roguelikes were a thing before Vampire Survivors. If anything, Risk of Rain did more for the genre. And the worst part about this, Cozy, I'm gonna quote Drake one more time, one more again. It's not about who did it first. It's about who did better. I'm sure someone else said that before Drake, but because he said it in a more viral way, it's his now. You know, like this genre. When people see stuff like this, most people, the people that aren't roguelike addicts, right? We see Vampire Survivors. You know, like GTA wasn't the first to do third person open world games. It wasn't, but it was the one that did it best. So now every time someone sees that, they say GTA clone. It just is what it is. Vampire Survivors built different. Oh, 1,000,000%, mate. Oshus, oh my god, Big Man Bo says Drake is no longer. All right, we can get into that real quick. Oshus, what are your thoughts on the game on screen? Are you interested in Devil Jam? It looks like a different version of Vampire Survivors. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, man. My computer crashed for a second, so I had to log back in. So I didn't get everything that she said. So basically, what is this supposed to be like? Is it like a Vampire Survivor type
Yeah,
game?
essentially, it's a roguelike. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So like Vampire Survivor was a once off for me in this genre. A lot of these games I found
Have
very
you played
difficult.
Brotato?
I did try that.
Bro, it's super cheap, and I'm telling you, I
I
am telling you, that game is hot. Like really,
yeah.
really hot.
Yeah,
How much is
those games are
Brotato?
good yeah, like it's on Game Pass even, I think.
Is it?
Mm.
What's not on game? You know what? Let's not get into that. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
So yeah, no, this is not like I can see people finding a lot of fun in this and finding, maybe their next roguelike. But for me, I'm good. Like I think I've had my fill. Like I've played Brotato and I've played Vampire Survivors, and I've never even finished those games. So I always go back to them if I want to have that to scratch that itch. I don't feel that I need to
Why
play
bring a
another
new
one of
one?
these.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I think bring a new one for people that are interested in different type of experiences like this, but not for me. But I'm sure people that like these will appreciate them.
yeah. I would see these type of games the way a lot of people see Souls likes, and they're like, you know what? I played Elden Ring. I had a blast, and then I tried maybe one other
Yeah.
another Souls like, and I was like, oh, don't like that. So it's like, yeah, I'm not into that genre. I feel the same way about this. I feel the same way about this. But yeah, Big Mad Mo said Drake is no longer. Yes, Innate. I love Vampire Survivors, but I'm not a fan of roguelikes. Exactly, Innate. That's my point. My point is, Vampire Survivors is like the Elden Ring of its genre. It's the one that people that don't even like the genre love. But
Mhm.
then if you start trying to deviate to other things, you probably won't like it. Just like Elden Ring. A lot of people jumped on Souls like with Elden Ring and they're like, "Ooh, let me go buy Dark Souls 3." They got nerfed very quickly, you know? Yes, because people like roguelikes. Exactly. Exactly. Uh Ty, have you heard Drake's new tracks? And do you think Drake is back?
Yeah, I didn't even know he had new tracks. The last one I heard was with him at Party Next Door.
Exactly. Exactly. Oshus, is Drake is he back or is he dead?
I don't know, to be honest. I've never checked for Drake's music, so I would not know. Even if he was like super hot right now, I wouldn't know because I'm never checking for what he's putting out.
Okay, this is how I gauge it. This is how I gauge it. You know how even someone like Cozy doesn't know, she doesn't watch basketball. She makes jokes of all sports and says sports ball. You know, you
Yeah,
know how I know LeBron is big, like really really big. It's because
yeah.
Cozy knows who the hell LeBron James is. You, Oshus, don't follow sports. You know who Roger Federer is.
Yeah.
Do you get it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
no.
there's the same thing with music. Drake apparently put out a whole lot of music in the last few weeks or months. Don't nobody know.
I
No,
don't
I
think he
don't.
did. He didn't put out new music.
He did. He did.
No.
You're just proving the point. You're just proving the point.
I'm honestly not
Whereas,
aware. I'm not.
whereas
Mm.
Usher Sintaye, when Kendrick put out his last few hits,
Mhm.
everyone was aware. You had Chinese people that barely know the language coming up with trends on TikTok, and it was insane. All right, you had politicians bopping to it and all that.
Why are you shitting for this Kendrick guy, Joe?
I'm not shilling. I'm just giving you the truth. You can. I'm just the guy spitting what's happening. That's all that's happening. That's all. Because your only retort, Ty, is why am I shilling for Kendrick? Your retort is not that didn't happen.
No, well, no, one, I don't think Drake put out new songs. I can't find any new songs here. So that's, I mean, he did a song with Party Next
All
Door,
right,
true.
go on YouTube, type Drake Nokia.
I just think both of them make corny
No, no, no,
music.
no. Nokia's an old song. Maybe there's a video of it, but the song itself is old. It's from
Well,
Party
that
Next
that
Door's song.
that's at least what's trending for Drake. People saying he's back and all that.
Oh, okay. I'll check out this. I didn't reach out
Yeah,
this song, but
check
I'll
it
check
out.
it out properly. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of. I mean, Kendrick is okay. I'm not really a fan of calling people,
Same.
slurs like that or nasty words. I wasn't a fan of that whole, not
Guys,
like us.
get the
And
feelings out. Get the feelings out. We're not talking about the feelings. We're talking about what is. And what is that apparently Drake's trending with his bass, but random ass people that don't know anything about no music ain't worried. Whereas with Kendrick, it popped, and then you had random ass people like Ushers knowing the lyrics. Like I know Ushers, you don't sing along, but you know what the hell it was when it came on because everyone was blaring it because it was hot. Anyways,
Mhm.
anyways.
this song sounds dope, man. This Nokia song.
Hey, dude, and I've always been a Drake fan. I'm not even gonna hate. I've always been a Drake fan. I know his songs from way back,
Hmm.
like the Little Wayne Young Money days. I've always loved Drake, but shit, Kendrick did him really bad, man. Whew.
Cozy, I didn't mean
Uh,
to say slur. I just didn't want to use the actual word on the YouTube.
well, we're talking about the PDF. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I didn't want to use that word.
Yeah.
So So I just use
You,
Slur
you
as
can
a
still say
placeholder.
PDF. You can still say Adobe PDF.
That's a very
Uh,
expensive way to come up with it, yeah.
we shall always. That's the problem with people. We shall always find a way around. We shall always find. Like these companies try to muzzle us. They try to silence us. They try to control us. But human beings, like it's not in our nature. You watch all these. You watch all these movies. You read all these books, and these companies think, oh, it's just a game. My guy, it is it is our nature. When anyways, let me not get let me not get too philosophical. Let me not get too philosophical. Next, we got another trailer for Marathon. Marathon Save the Date trailer. Marathon is the first person shooter game from
Bungie.
Bungie. Thoughts?
I think the art style is interesting.
It's a bit
Um,
bright. It's a bit
very,
bright. I'm getting
very
Concord
bright.
vibes. I'm sorry, I'm getting Concord vibes, fellas.
Very, very
Go ahead,
bright
Ty.
indeed. Could be maybe a nod towards the Fortnite crowd, and I think it's an extract shooter, and I think what can separate it from other shooting games is that I don't think consoles have any extract and shooter kind of games. They all seem to be on PC, so this is a niche they could kind of carve out for themselves as long as the game is good. I'm hoping it's good, not really for Bungie's sake, because I think what could happen here, and what I would have hoped is that Sony would have actually made Bungie implement an actual story mode into this game, something around the lines of maybe Halo or Destiny, something to actually keep people invested in, like in the lore, and then the multiplayer part, the extract part is just an offshoot. That's what I would have hoped for, but I don't think that's not what's going to happen. So I have very limited reasons. Like I don't really care about this game for that reason. Um, if it's fun, I'll give it a try. I look forward to seeing how it does on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. If Sony sees that and says the reason why this game isn't bombing is because it's on all platforms, and if that is the case, then that's a further sign that Sony will look to go multi-platform for more of their games. So I think that's maybe the only kind of consumer pro thing we can get from this, if the game is good.
Big Bad Bo said, "Is there a trailer? Show it, motherfucker. That's the trailer, dog. Look at the screen, bro. What are you talking about?" Oshas, are you super interested in Concord point 2.0?
Nah, like I'm not a Bungie guy, and like I know Marathon from back in the day when it was a single player first person shooter. Um, I'm not a fan of also repurposing old IPs that people have specific memories of, and then doing something completely different with it that's got nothing to do with the original IP. So it's a no for me.
It's not popping. It's not popping. Fuzzy says, "I completely agree with the Concord vibes." Dave Easy says, "Who does this marathon game supposed to appeal to? Just pack it up, Bungie." Fuzzy says, "Plot twists. You play as the cat." Okay, all right.
Agreed. I agree.
You think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah, dude, I think it's lights. It's they're done for. They're just gonna be repurposed into Sony somewhere else.
It's not looking great, bro.
No.
It's actually
It,
a really bad purchase. Like the way when you really dig deep into it, like
Yeah.
I could look at like Nintendo's purchases, whatever they've done, and actually could look at like Sony's purchases and Xbox purchases. Xbox has done a good job with ABK. They've done a good job with
Yeah.
Bethesda, even like the smaller studios. But this Bungie purchase was just an absolute disaster on so many levels.
Well, I
yeah,
mean, the sign was the fact that Microsoft refused
Exactly.
to buy them. Like Microsoft looked at their financials and looked at everything and said that will pass.
Yeah, pretty
Even
much.
though they invented our biggest IP or our most valuable IP to a certain time, but like, yeah, no, we're good. We don't want them.
Like I don't know what the hell Jim Ryan was thinking here. He complete and in those emails he was saying like, oh, they got ABK. Don't worry, we got our baby here. Bungie was the baby,
Yup.
and he said like Bungie could give more value than ABK.
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Like he's
Yup.
insane. Like listen, you people might go with Phil Spencer for lying or overhyping things, but the fact that Jim Ryan thought that this could be something, man, I have no idea what to say. Such a bad play.
yeah, it
Um,
was weird.
Ron Slasher says Saints Row tried to fix an old IP. Look what happened. Listen, I don't think it's fair to say, oh, leave the old IP, let it die. I don't think that's fair. But I would say approach the old IP with reverence. That's
I
what I would
mean,
say.
I promise you, if they had rebooted Saints Row and they'd given it to the guys that did Dead Island, for instance, and it had
Yeah,
more of that sort of aesthetic, that game would have worked.
for sure.
Instead, they reboot the game and it looks worse than the last release, which was in 2011.
Looks worse. The story is clearly not paying homage to its predecessor. As much as we like to make fun of Saints Row, as in, oh, there's no real story. If you play all the Saints Row one after the other, there is a certain level of tipping the hat to the game that came before in all the Saints Row games, right up to Get Out of Hell. Sure, they jumped the shark and all this other stuff, but you can still see that they looked at the predecessor and they were like, "I we like this. How can we run with this?" The
Yeah.
last Saints Row was like, "Oh, this is shit. We're going to go in a completely different direction." So that's what I mean by paying homage and approaching an old franchise with reverence and respect. Because if you start there, things are gonna go well for you. But if you take an old IP and then you start with the idea of no, what was there before is bad or trash, and or you know what, it's passe. No one even cares about what was there. We're going to make this new thing. Wake up, you idiot! The only reason Conquer the universe in Conquer has value is because of what was made back then that you are now saying has no value and is passe and it's not good enough for today. You idiot. So I hope Marathon looks at what happened before, looks at the roots of what it used to be when it was popping, and pays reverence to that.
Not to be
Because if
someone
they
to
decide,
disagree or to be a
if they
contrarian, but
let me finish. But if they
well,
decide what was there before is useless and it's actually bad, and we don't have to take anything from there, and we're just going to make something completely new, but we're going to take the Marathon name. If that's the tactic, get ready to take this out. Go ahead, Ty. Tell me why not paying respect and homage to the past is actually a great idea.
yeah, for two reasons. Number one, nobody who's interested in marathon knows what the original marathon is. They're interested in marathon because of Bungie. That's just pretty much it. So they could have went completely sideways with this IP. Till this day, I have no idea what the original marathon looked like. The people who are going to be looking at this game are Destiny players who don't know what marathon is, and probably some fans who are interested in Halo. But then again, you're looking at the game now and it looks nothing like Halo, so you can dismiss them more or less. And people who like extraction shooters who've been playing on PC. You don't need to even pay any homage whatsoever to the original Marathon for this game to be a success. So that's where I would disagree. There are some games where you should pay some kind of homage because you can get the fans on board. But ideally, mainly, if you make a really good game, um, as long as it's a good or great game, Doesn't really matter if you're paying homage to the original IP or how it looks like, because if the game is good, the game is good. Like that's just it. You could say the game is a bad, maybe not bad sequel, but like a bad interpretation. That doesn't mean it's a bad game.
Oshas, please tell me you agree with Ty.
Um, I don't know, like yeah, like I think he's right in terms of just factually. But I still also agree with the fact that like I don't see the point in then why are you repurposing Marathon? Just make a new IP then, if that's the case. Like why?
Hello.
So that's my take. Is that like if you're gonna do something new and you're not worried about like old fans, caring about the game. To your point,
Thank
if
you,
you're making a
Oshas.
game for Bungie players who want what is this game? Destiny. Then just give them another game in the vein of Destiny that does the same things. Give them another
Call
IP
it Destiny 3.
or whatever other IP you want to make. Call it Concord.
So, Ty, first off, right? Oshas' point, copy and paste. Copy and motherfucking paste. If you're not going to make Marathon, don't call it Marathon. Point number two. Um, Let me use God of War as an example. The new God of War, the 2018 God of War, they changed a lot of that game from the original. It's not even made by the same creator. Like David Jeff is not even there. But they still called it God of War. And what did they do? They put in elements that came from the original. They had the nostalgia, the little nostalgia sections, especially when you got the blades of Athena. They had the exploration of rage that came from from the old games. They played, they showed reverence to their predecessor in the God of War sequels. Marathon has to show reverence to the previous games in some way, shape, or form. They need to put in a couple weapons from back then. They need to put in literal quirks that were in the original, whether it's the way that you were extracted, whether it's the way that you get into the game. They need to pay homage to the predecessor, because if you don't do it, then why call it Marathon? And even for the people that haven't played the previous game, the previous Marathon existed for certain reasons. There were things that were good in the original Marathon games. Ignoring all of that in favor of something new is not a good idea, because those things, whether it's 5 or 6 things instead of 1,000, you still need to take them with you, because those are the things that gave it that pop, that sizzle, and that's not going to change.
I think them referencing points or putting guns and maybe items, I think it's more of a cop out. It's easy to kind of just, satisfy people with like, oh, here's your little gun from Marathon from 10 years ago. And that's nothing really. I think what I'm really focusing on is like changes in like overall style and gameplay. That could be art style, that could be fundamentals to gameplay. So you could say with Resident Evil, you went from, fixed camera angles to over the shoulder, then with more RPG, maybe game mechanics, because everybody went more RPG. God of War, for example, same thing. Now it's a more deeper story. Sorry, you're focusing on more the emotional part of Kratos, the storytelling with him and his son, and focus on like a different kind of gameplay combat. Like these are huge changes to the core part of the game. That's why you can have some fans who are they prefer the previous God of War as opposed to this version of God of War because they don't like the kind of style that is. I'm sure if you ask Jaffe, like what do you prefer, the new God of War,
I
the
ain't
ones
trying to
you made?
listen to David Jeffy.
He,
I ain't trying to listen to him.
I don't know why you don't like this guy, but like Jaffe will probably say I prefer the ones I made because they're very fundamentally different games for sure. So I think that's kind of what I mean. However,
I
you
also
could make
prefer
those
the old
changes.
ones.
Yeah, but you can make those changes and fans will still be okay because God of War 2017 or 18, whichever it was, is a good game.
No,
So I
what
don't
I'm
think you
trying
have
to
to
say
appease
is,
fans.
no, they still appeased fans, dude. They could have made God of War, the new God of War, they could have given him pistols, they could have given him wings, and they could have made him a time jumper. It's not God of War anymore.
Or a
That
girl.
they could have made him a girl. They could have made it Goddess of War. It's not God of War anymore. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are proposing, Ty, that it is possible to throw the baby out with the bathwater and keep just the sign outside. And what I'm saying is that you cannot do that. That is wrong. Actually, you can't do it. What I'm saying is that it's wrong. It doesn't end well. That's what I'm saying. Because what you're saying is that they took elements from the previous games, changed them, evolved them in their own interpretations. That is still paying homage, and that is still approaching with some form of reverence and respect because you're not pretending it never happened. You were saying that they can go there, bash up the whole shop, right? Just take the sign that says marathon and say that's the game. It's like, bro, come on,
Well, I mean,
you can't do that.
don't take Halo and turn it into like some kind of fantasy game, right? That's not what I'm implying here. What I mean
Okay, so
is,
we agree.
oh yeah, then we agree then. You just, I
We
mean, like,
agree.
but God of War is a perfect example. Like that game is a reboot. That game is a huge change to what the previous one
Yes,
was.
but and dude, even the evolution, it makes sense. Even the evolution of Kratos, in my opinion at least, it makes sense.
Would you say the Assassin's Creed Origins is it pays homage to the
No, it
previous games?
doesn't.
But
It
it
doesn't. You know
does
why?
because it
You know
mentioned
what
the
my
assassins.
biggest gripe about the Assassin's Creed games are. Besides, okay, not my biggest gripes, but my other gripes. Besides the issue of level gating assassinations, they they stopped following the Desmond story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
but that
different game
that
completely.
happened before the RPG ones, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So, but my point is, if you're playing the RPG ones, technically they're paying homage. They're talking about their modern day stories. They're doing all these
No,
things. So
no,
therefore, like it's an Assassin's
no.
Creed game.
The modern ones, they don't even have like a proper game outside of the Animus. Because for me, I'm not even attached to Desmond himself. You could have had other people outside of the Animus and have actual tangible stories that were happening
There are
IRL.
stories. That's not the Animus.
All right. Well,
There are.
are they as fleshed
Yeah,
out
they're
and
like
given? Are they given more? Are they given space to breathe the way the Desmond story was given space to? Because the Desmond story was almost 50% of the game.
Yeah, but Desmond died, so there was no more
Again,
story.
again, Tae, stop
but
moving
like
the goalpost. It doesn't have to be Desmond. It could be Tracy. It could be Catherine. It could be Amanda. Notice I gave you three female names because my attachment is not just to Desmond and him being male outside of the animus. We needed, in my opinion, that was one of the more unique aspects of Assassin's Creed.
No, but you see, but you're moving the goalpost now because you are the one
How?
that is saying that if you just point to certain things, give them some tidbits here and there, then it's okay as long as you pay homage to the original one. I'm
Yes,
saying
yes.
Origins pays homage, Valhalla pays homage.
Yeah,
It's all Assassin's Creed
yeah,
game.
but by taking what used to be 50% of the game and making it 0.2% of the game, sure,
No, but like,
it pays
but
homage.
Desmond died in Assassin's Creed 3, so there was other games
And
even before the
again,
RPG part.
it
Would you say
doesn't
there weren't?
have to be just Desmond.
No, no, no. You're missing my point. I'm saying Desmond died in Assassin's Creed 3, which means there were other games before the RPG ones where other people could have taken their place. But those are still Assassin's Creed games because
I
they were
was still
before the
upset.
RPG.
I was still upset.
Yeah, but that's not the point I'm making, though. The point I'm making is that
That's the point I'm making.
it, if you're saying that in Origins, no, initially you said that if you're throwing references here and there, you're giving, all these kind of points here and there, you can still pay homage. I'm saying Origins still pays homage. Now, you can say, well, there's not enough main story in the real timeline. that's fine, but it's still paying homage because there is missions in the real timeline.
Yeah, yeah,
So
but
by
now you're
default,
trying to
that the
boil
new
it
one,
down. Now you're trying to boil it down mathematically, and if we're gonna do that, we can go back to God of War. And now we're getting pedantic, and we're gonna be here for 4 hours, right? We can
fair
go
enough.
back to God of War. They paid homage, but and the rage that Kratos feels within him, it's a lot less in the cutscenes than it was in the old games. But in the gameplay, it's still very much there, and even the finishes that you do within the gameplay, the rage, which is a signature part of Kratos, is still very much of prevalent. So you can pay homage in the little things if they were also little things back in the day. You can't come here and say we're going to make a new Metal Gear Solid game. We're going to use Snake as a protagonist, and then we're going to sprinkle in 2 hours of stealth. But the rest of the game is essentially Call of Duty. Ah, no, but they're paying homage to what happened back in the. No, but the stealth is not something to pay homage. The stealth is essentially what makes the game the game. So we can pay homage to different things in differing percentages depending on what it was back in the day. You can't sit here and say, here's a new Tekken game. It pays homage to the predecessors, right? You have this little section here where you play a versus a 3D fight in a 3D fighting area, but the majority of the game really is a third person adventure game. That's not Tekken. It's not Tekken. Yeah, but there's 2 hours of one-on-one fighting. Yeah, but it's not Tekken. So there's levels to paying homage. Big Mad Mo says the Animus really, you and three other people enjoyed it. That's why they got rid of it. Again, again, why are we even here discussing? Because if the idea is we're supposed to just parrot what's popular, I'll never bring up Metal Gear Solid again. I'll never bring up Football Manager again. Let me not ever stream Telltale games on TSWS because those are not popular, right? Considering they had shut the studio down because people weren't buying them. Come on, Big Mad Mo. Come on. That can't be the argument. Last game of the day is uh Drive Rally. This game is coming out this year. Not gonna lie, this one's 100% me. I didn't even put it here because I think it's gonna be a banger or whatever. 16th of April. I put this game here because I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy it. Ty, what are your thoughts on Drive Rally, and are you gonna get it?
Um,
Let me go wishlist it right now.
no, I'm not gonna get it. I don't really play racing games to be honest. Apart from Mario Kart, I'll be purchasing that $80 version. That's not
90
$90.
$90.
That's what I'm gonna be jamming. That's a real game right there.
Let's
Um,
go.
this I don't know what this thing is trying to. It's a rally game. That's it. Yeah, just cell
Yeah,
shaded and
yeah, but it's retro graphics.
um. And you're interested in this?
Hell yeah. Let me read the description on Steam. Drive Rally is an arcade-inspired rally driving experience set in the golden racing era of the 90s. Grab your co-driver and burn some rubber on iconic race winning cars. Not You can't be on iconic. You have to be in. Oh my god. Anyways, in iconic race winning cars across a variety of terrains in some of the most iconic rallying locations in the world. Oh my god. I'm down. I cannot wait. Big Mad Mo says stop bringing up. Oh, bite me. Bite me, Mo. Reezy says I'm bullying Ty. You, I do not bully Ty. I bully Oshus, not Ty. I don't bully Ty. Anyways, Ty, tell us why you're looking forward to this game.
I'm not looking forward to this game. This is not something that I'm interested in. I don't do
You a
racing
hater.
games, especially with the like a rally one. I don't know why I would do that. Like if this was Midnight Club, something street orientated, I'll give it a shot. But this one, nah, not on my list.
Okay, so racing games for you is like street. So rally, no. What about games like Gran Turismo or Forza Motorsport?
Forza, Horizon, probably more likely
Motorsport.
for Horizon, but Motorsport, no. I just don't like racing games really.
I put
I played
Horizon in
Gran
the
Turismo
same
when I was a
group.
kid, but not really interested.
I put Forza Horizon in the same group of like Midnight Club, Need for Speed. You know, your arcade on the road games. All right, Oshus, are you interested in Drive Rally? Uh,
Um, if it, I don't know, like I would not go out of my way to purchase something like this. Again, to me, it's aesthetic appeal is important. Like I like what they're going for, but it's sort of falls short of grabbing my attention.
what?
Maybe if I see
Aesthetically,
more, like there are
aesthetically, it
already
doesn't
games.
do.
Yeah, no, there are already games like this. Like if you go on Game Pass, there's another one like this, like that's based on these old school like
Already
blocking
beat
like
it. Already
that.
beat it.
So I prefer
I
something like
already
that
beat.
for like my mobile play, like my Rogue Ally. I don't know if I would get this. Like I honestly don't know if I would go out of my way to get something like this. There's just too many good games, man, for me to be spending time on something like this.
This is also good.
Well, but come on, like I could be playing the many Forza games I did not finish, but
Forza.
I'll go play this. I'm actually gonna bring you a recording one day of the guy that made the game saying Forza.
Which guy saying Forza?
Was the guy that was the head of Turn 10 Studios.
Fucking hell. Oh shit. All right. I'm looking forward to
Founder.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, Cozy says it releases on her birthday. Nice. Nice. 16th of April is Cozy's birthday. All right, y'all make sure to gift this game to her because she'll definitely play it. As for me, I'm
I will
definitely
keep that.
getting it. It's just $20. If I go to CD Keys, it's probably 15 to 10. I'm like I probably won't even play it now if I'm being honest because I still have to finish WRC 5, 6, 7. I still have a lot of rally games to go, but I'm definitely getting this one. I'm definitely getting this one, and it's Steam Deck verified. Let's go! It's not on console. It's not for the plebs. It's not for the plebs. All right, all right. Oh my god, almost 3 hours. Shit. I've been trying to keep these shows tight. I've been trying to keep it down to 2 hours, but anyways. Darius, he says he likes the art style. Awesome, awesome. That's great. Oshus, plug
Mhm.
your channel. Tell people where they can find you before we leave.
Yeah, if you want to see me trolling Xbox or hating Xbox or just going through my daily routine, you can check me out on X at Oz the Wiz. Yeah, that's basically mostly what I do. But yeah, I'll try and be more interesting and diversify my output. And I'm also on this platform, but currently I have no real content that's coming up. And the channel is Oz the Wiz or Osha7 if you just want to search for me. But I think thanks to the chat, man. Always fun. Always a good time.
Always, always. I don't believe you're going to balance out your Xbox hate, Oshus, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to you trying. Uh, what? Nate says it looks interesting, but I have too much to play. That's true. Like the struggle is real with the backlog,
Yeah.
and I hope Nintendo brings it, man. I hope they bring it because they have to motivate a lot, and I mean a lot of people to pay those prices. Not everyone earns as much as Ty. All right. Speaking of Ty, please plug your channel. Tell people where they can find you and what you're up to.
You guys can find me at Ty Talks, TAYETALKS. In terms of what's going on, nothing really. Same thing as usual. Assassin's Creed Shadows. I've been doing more of Yasuke's story, more of Naoe's story. I'm just taking some notes here and there in case I decide to make a video on, whatever, how Ubisoft has told Yasuke's story or how Ubisoft has told Naoe's revenge story. So I have some notes on that. No idea if I will drop a video on it. It just depends if the story is good or if the story is bad. But yeah, that could be my next potential video. I also was thinking about a Starfield video about how to, let me not say improve it, but how to connect the tissues a lot better without actually breaking the bank. Maybe just a nice update. But yeah, those are some ideas that's flown around. So if I do drop them, I'll be sure to let you guys know.
All right, make sure to plug the video so we can go watch it and support your channel. Oshus, the game you're talking about on Game Pass is Art of Rally.
Yes, that's the one.
I beat the crap out of that game on Xbox. It's already on my Steam wish list. I'm going to buy it again and beat it
Yeah.
all over again on Steam. That game is so good, man. It's so good. Anyways, um, thank you to everyone for coming through. Please smash the like button, share out the podcast. We do this every single day of the week because we love video games and we love talking about it, about video games. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share. Really, really appreciate the support. Not just in liking, sharing, and subscribing, because y'all been doing that a lot. Our numbers have jumped up a bit, but also just interacting with us in the chat. You know, like you guys could be doing a million other things, but you
Yeah.
chose to click on TSWS and chat to a random dude in Mozambique, a random dude in South Africa, and a random dude in Ireland about video games. You could be doing literally anything, but you chose to do this with us for almost 3 hours, and we are very grateful for that. And looking forward to doing it all over again tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one. Goodbye.